Some temples were built to honor the gods. Others seem built to hide something from us. Scattered across jungles, mountains, and deserts are ancient stone temples, too vast, too complex, too perfect for the civilizations we think built them. Their walls whisper of forgotten rituals of unknown hands that carved impossible shapes. Who built them? When and why do so many of them align with stars? And secrets we're only now beginning to understand. Join us as we uncover the mysteries hidden within the world's most enigmatic temples, where history ends and something far older begins. Buried beneath layers of stone, sealed in silence for over 1,300 years, and drenched in a deadly red powder, this is not a legend. This is real. In the ruins of the ancient Maya city of Palenque, archaeologists uncovered a tomb so eerie, so elaborately constructed, that it instantly earned a name, whispered with awe: the Tomb of the Red Queen. Discovered in 1994, inside a forgotten temple near the great King Pakal's resting place, the chamber held the skeletal remains of a mysterious woman, her bones and treasures entirely coated in vibrant cinnabar, a toxic red mineral once believed to hold supernatural power. Who was this woman, entombed in blood-red dust, honored with royal splendor, yet left without a name? 3 decades later, despite cutting-edge science and endless theories, one truth remains: we still don't know who she was, and perhaps we were never meant to. So, what do you think? Was she a forgotten queen, a high priestess, or someone whose identity had to be hidden at all costs? Drop your theory in the comments below. We want to hear what you believe lies behind the mystery of the Red Queen. The tomb was uncovered in 1994 when a team of archaeologists led by Fanny Lopez was exploring Temple III, a structure adjacent to the Temple of the Inscriptions, the famous resting place of King Pakal the Great. While the Temple of the Inscriptions had long been the focus of archaeological attention, Temple III seemed like a secondary building until the team hit a stone slab buried deep beneath the floor. When they lifted the slab, they found a sealed chamber housing a meticulously carved limestone sarcophagus. Inside were the remains of an elderly woman completely covered in thick layers of cinnabar, a mercury-based red mineral known for its toxic properties, but considered sacred in Maya ritual practices. It was that vivid red powder that gave the tomb its name, the Red Queen. The scene was haunting the skeleton of a woman lying motionless in a stone sarcophagus surrounded by jade ornaments and mosaic inlays, all entirely covered in cinnabar, a mercury-based red powder, both toxic and sacred. The cinnabar coated not only her body, but also spread across the burial items, the stone walls, and the inner surface of the coffin lid. This funerary ritual was not merely a gesture of honor, it was a symbolic sealing in blood, reflecting a deep belief in rebirth, divine power, and a kind of immortality that transcends the human realm. Initially, many believed the Red Queen was Queen Tsakbu Ajao, the wife of King Pakal, the great ruler of Palenque, in the 7th century. It made sense her tomb was located right next to Pakal's, an unusual honor in the Maya burial system. However, DNA testing revealed a startling truth: there was no blood relation between her and Pakal. This raised new questions. If she wasn't his wife, why was she buried in such a prestigious place? And why was her burial ritual so elaborate, especially for a woman in an ancient patriarchal society? From that point on, the Red Queen became a symbol of unanswered questions. The haunting mystery, who was she, still lingers over every scholarly attempt to decode her past. Why was she covered in cinnabar, a toxic substance? Was it meant to seal her spirit? Or was it part of a sacred rite to help her cross into the afterlife as a divine being, though cinnabar was used in Maya burials before a case. This extreme coating the entire body, the tomb, and all the artifacts is nearly unprecedented. Even more puzzling, two individuals were found buried with her, a man and a young boy, likely sacrificial victims. This suggests the burial was part of a complex religious ritual involving blood death and spiritual power. Could she have been a high priestess, a bridge between humans and gods? Or was she a spiritual entity whose death had to be marked with blood and cinnabar, both ultimate symbols of power and life in Maya cosmology? Modern technology allowed scientists to reconstruct her face from the skull, revealing a woman about 60 years old, standing roughly 1.5 meters tall and living a life of privilege compared to most of her contemporaries. But even her appearance couldn't clarify her status. What's especially strange, there were absolutely no inscriptions inside the tomb, no name, no dynastic symbols, no narrative carvings. It's as if her identity was meant to be hidden. Was she a politically controversial figure, a priestess whose legacy had to be erased to protect a sacred secret, or a divine embodiment? Too holy to name the silence of the stone in her tomb, so different from typical Maya graves, might be the biggest clue of all. It suggests the Red Queen was not just a historical figure, but a sacred mystery intentionally sealed away with cinnabar and time. To this day, new theories continue to emerge. Some scholars believe she may have been a shadow ruler, a hidden force behind the throne, a sorceress holding ancient knowledge of Pakal's dynasty. Others suggest she was the last keeper of sacred rites before the city of Palenque declined. Still others think we may be misinterpreting her entirely, that the Red Queen wasn't a political figure at all, but a spiritual archetype, an embodiment of the Maya cosmic mother life, or even death itself. Whoever she was, the Red Queen still lies there, entombed within Temple Third, guarded by stone cinnabar and the passage of time. Like a message sent from the ancient world to ours, her tomb reminds us that some stories are not told in words. Some memories are buried not to be forgotten, but to challenge our imagination, our science, and our desire to understand the unknown. The mystery of the Red Queen remains one of the greatest unsolved enigmas of the Maya civilization. And perhaps it is that very silence, so intense, so red, that grants her a kind of immortality in the heart of history. Beneath the parched hills of northern China, hidden for millennia, lies a city that should not exist. A city older than the Great Wall, but made of stone, when the rest of ancient China was still building with mud. A fortress with massive gates, soaring towers, and defensive walls stretching for miles, yet it predates China's first dynasties. This is not myth, it's not legend. It's Shimao, a 4,000-year-old enigma that defies everything we thought we knew about Chinese civilization. And what makes it even stranger, while other ancient cultures left palaces of clay, Shimao carved its legacy in stone. Deliberate, monumental, impossible to ignore. This isn't just an archaeological site. It's a warning that our history books are far from complete. But here's the real question. If Shimao truly existed before China's first dynasties and built in stone, while others still used mud, who built it? Why was it forgotten? And most importantly, what else might still be buried, rewriting everything we thought we knew? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Shimao was part of a lost civilization, or something even stranger? Shimao is by every measure one of the largest and most sophisticated Neolithic sites ever found in China. Discovered only in 2011, What initially seemed to be a simple walled settlement soon revealed itself to be an enormous fortified stone city covering more than 400 hectares. Its stone walls stretch over 10 kilometers, rising as high as 6 meters in some places, forming multiple layers of defense: inner city, outer city, and restricted royal compounds with strategic gateways, lookout towers, battlements, and moats. It's a defensive complex more akin to a medieval fortress than anything thought possible in the Chinese Neolithic. And that's the first major shock: the material. During the time Shimao was constructed, roughly 2000 BCE, nearly every other major settlement in China was being built using rammed earth, a simple technique where layers of soil were compressed into walls. Rammed earth structures are effective and long-lasting, but they leave little behind, and the technology to build massive stone fortifications was thought to be far beyond this era. Shimao defies that assumption. Here stones were cut, stacked, interlocked, and in some cases even decorated with carvings of beasts' faces and symbolic patterns. The architectural sophistication points to a highly organized labor force, advanced engineering skills, and social coordination that rivaled the earliest dynasties. What's even more astonishing is that Shimao was not some obscure outpost or minor settlement. It was a full-fledged urban center with signs of hierarchy, elite residence, ceremonial complexes, and even evidence of military planning. It wasn't a copy of other Chinese cities. It was radically different, and it seemed to arise independently of the Yellow River civilizations that later gave birth to dynasties like Xiaoshang and Zhou. The Shimao site includes massive terraced platforms atop which were constructed buildings believed to be palatial or ceremonial in function. These platforms were carefully leveled with stone retaining walls and accessed by wide stone stairways, suggesting an elite class presiding over the common residents. The city's layout shows a deep understanding of defensive architecture. Natural terrain was used to enhance protection, while blind corners, narrow passages, and watchtowers provided strategic control points. But perhaps most symbolically powerful is the fact that Shimao chose stone, a material that lasts, that defies erosion, and that projects power. In an era when other societies built mud walls that melted with rain and time, Shimao's leaders seemed determined to carve their presence into the earth itself. This was more than a practical choice. It was ideological, a statement of permanence and dominion in a world still emerging from tribal settlements. This choice of material also had logistical implications. Shimao is located in a semi-arid region, far from major stone quarries, meaning that thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of laborers had to transport and assemble massive quantities of stone over vast distances. The very act of building Shimao required an infrastructure of planning, command, and manpower coordination that predates the known bureaucracies of the early dynasties. Even the style of stonework is puzzling. While some parts use rough field stones, other areas feature finely hewn blocks fitted tightly together, reminiscent of stonework in ancient Central Asia or the Near East. And embedded within certain key areas of the architecture, particularly gates and foundations, are carvings of fantastic faces, geometric patterns, and possibly totemic symbols, none of which match known Chinese iconography of the time. The implications are vast. Was Shimao a forgotten civilization, a rival of the Xia dynasty, or a predecessor, or perhaps an entirely separate culture with ties to Central Asian migrants? The stone city has no clear historical descendants. There is no written record that speaks of it, and no later cities in the region adopted its techniques or style. Shimao may have flourished for just a few centuries before vanishing from history, leaving behind only its stubborn stones and its mysteries. Beyond architecture, archaeologists have uncovered evidence of intense ritual activity. Embedded in the foundations of some walls are the skulls of young women, likely human sacrifices performed to consecrate the structures. In total, more than 80 such skulls have been found arranged in ways that suggest ceremonial purpose rather than casual burial. This grim aspect of Shimao reinforces the notion that it was a powerful, organized society with complex religious beliefs and perhaps even a priestly class that directed construction as spiritual labor. Other finds add further layers to the mystery jade artifacts placed deliberately into architectural joints and corners, possibly as spiritual protectors or status markers. Early bronze tools and ornaments suggesting metallurgical experimentation before the widespread Bronze Age, and remains of paintings and colored stones hinting at a city that was once not just massive but also visually stunning. And yet, despite its grandeur, Shimao is not part of the conventional narrative of ancient China. It doesn't align with the Xia or Shang dynasties. It lacks inscriptions, classical Chinese motifs, or connections to any of the legendary figures of antiquity. It seems to exist in isolation, a massive alien city in the desert, unclaimed by any known kingdom. That's what makes it so fascinating. Shimao challenges the very foundation of what we think we know about early Chinese civilization. It reminds us that history is often written by what survives and interpreted through limited lenses. Just because Shimao doesn't fit the mold doesn't mean it wasn't important. On the contrary, the fact that it doesn't fit may be the very clue that reveals how diverse, dynamic, and complex early Chinese societies really were. High in the mist-wrapped cliffs of northern Peru, where clouds cling to jagged stone, and sunlight rarely breaks through a forgotten civilization once defied both nature and time. They were known as the Chachapoya, the Cloud Warriors, and everything about them was extraordinary. They didn't just build in the sky, they lived there, fought there. And when they died, they didn't rest underground like most. They ascended. Their dead still perch on sheer cliffs, sealed inside clay statues or coffins suspended in air, staring into eternity. Who were these people who turned death into a vertical art form? Why did they place their ancestors on ledges no human could easily reach? And what secrets still lie hidden in the fog-covered tombs above the jungle? This is the story of a civilization lost in the clouds, one that watched the world from above and may still be watching. What do you think drove the Chachapoya to place their dead so high, far above the living world? Was it fear, faith, or something we still don't understand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you interpret this haunting tradition. The Chachapoya lived in one of the most rugged and isolated regions on Earth, where towering limestone cliffs were shrouded in year-round mist, dense forests were surrounded by deep valleys, and narrow rivers carved their way through treacherous terrain. This area, now part of the Amazonas region in Peru, forced the Chachapoya to adapt in extraordinary ways. It was this very isolation that gave rise to a unique and independent culture, where the way they lived, and especially the way they confronted death, was unlike anything seen in the ancient world. While most ancient civilizations chose to bury their dead underground or within sealed tombs, the Chachapoya took a radically different approach. They placed their dead high on vertical cliff faces, suspending wooden or clay coffins above ground, or hiding bodies inside natural rock crevices, locations accessible only to the most skilled climbers. This practice was not only rooted in spiritual belief, based on the idea that the closer to the sky, the easier the soul could ascend and reach the divine, but also served a practical purpose to protect the dead from wild animals and grave robbers. By placing the deceased where no one could reach them, they ensured a peaceful, undisturbed rest forever beyond the reach of the living. Alongside their hanging cliffside coffins, the Chachapoya left behind another funerary legacy, just as eerie humanoid statues made of clay mixed with lime, known as the Sarcófagos de Carajilla. Each statue stands about 2 meters tall, sculpted to resemble a human figure, positioned upright on mountain ledges like eternal guardians of the dead. Inside each of these statues lies not a symbolic offering, but the actual remains of important individuals, likely tribal leaders, shamans, or legendary warriors. The placement of these sarcophagos is equally striking. Right on the edges of sheer cliffs, their faces turned toward the deep valleys below, as if ancient spirits were still silently watching the world of the living. Archaeologists have described the experience of standing before them as being watched by eyes from another world. The Chachapoya's fusion of sculptural artistry, spiritual belief, and extreme geography has made these statues one of the most haunting and captivating funerary mysteries in all of human history. For the Chachapoya, funerals were not merely a ritual of farewell, but a refined form of art, carefully planned in terms of location, structure, and spiritual symbolism. Each sarcophago statue was uniquely sculpted with an individual facial expression, painted with red and white earth pigments to convey emotion. Some appeared to smile peacefully, others frowned with solemn dignity, as if the personality and spirit of the deceased lived on through the clay form. The bodies were wrapped in thick textiles and placed in a fetal sitting position, a posture common across many ancient cultures. Thanks to the cool climate and high elevation that prevented moisture, many bodies have been naturally preserved, like mummies with hair, skin, and bones still intact after centuries, becoming silent witnesses to a lost civilization hidden in the clouds. Perched over 3,000 meters above sea level, Kuelap is the most magnificent surviving structure of the Chachapoya, a massive stone fortress among the clouds, serving not only as a residential hub, but also as a ceremonial center and possibly a burial site for the elite. Its towering outer walls are up to 20 meters thick and stretch over 600 meters, enclosing hundreds of uniquely circular buildings. Unlike the elegant beauty of the Inca's Machu Picchu, Kuelap carries a distinctly defensive character, like an isolated stronghold suspended in the sky, forever shrouded in mystical mist. To this day, the way the Chachapoya constructed Kuelap continues to astonish archaeologists with its precision and technical sophistication. Many structures are decorated with carvings of serpent sons and warriors, reflecting a layered worldview where spirituality, ancestral reverence, and warrior strength coexist in every stone. When the Inca Empire expanded in the 15th century, they invaded the Chachapoya territory. But conquering the cloud dwellers was no easy task. The Chachapoya were known for their fierce resistance, leveraging their harsh terrain to fight back and hold their ground for years. Even after being incorporated into the Inca Empire, the Chachapoya managed to retain their cultural identity, especially in their architecture and funerary traditions. Spanish chroniclers later described the Chachapoya as tall, fair-skinned, and unlike any other native group, sparking enduring speculation about their genetic origins, still unsolved to this day. Today, many Chachapoya burial sites remain untouched, perched precariously on cliff faces, hidden within jungle and stone. Some mummies still sit intact, and the sarcophagos still stand proudly in the open sky, staring down wind, rain, and time itself. They are spirits whose stories remain untold, waiting for humanity to look once more toward the clouds and listen. High in the Andes, carved into a massive rock under the open sky, lies a temple with no walls, no roof, only riddles. No guides can explain it fully. No textbook dares to define it clearly. This is Qenqo, the sacred labyrinth of the Inca. Overshadowed by the fame of Machu Picchu, Qenqo doesn't impress with scale or grandeur. But it does something far more haunting. It leaves you questioning everything you thought you knew about the Inca world. At over 3,600 meters above sea level, Qenqo, or Qenqo, meaning labyrinth in Quechua, sits like a cryptic message carved into stone. A place where zigzagging channels hint at forgotten rituals and underground chambers whisper secrets from a world now silent. To walk through Qenqo is to step into a puzzle, one designed not to be solved, but to be felt, imagined, and feared. Because what if this wasn't just a temple? What if it was something else entirely, something we still aren't meant to understand? So, what do you think Qenqo truly was? A temple? A portal between worlds? A ritual school for ancient priests? Or something far stranger than we can even imagine? Drop your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take on this ancient mystery. The entire site is carved into a large limestone outcrop. What makes Qenqo truly exceptional is the precision and complexity of these carvings, including zigzagging channels, carved staircases, niches, and what appears to be ritual altars. These features weren't simply decorative. The zigzag channels, for example, are believed to have carried liquids, either chicha, a sacred fermented drink, or even blood during ceremonial sacrifices. The slow movement of these fluids through the winding grooves likely held ritual significance, possibly representing life's journey, death, or purification. Yet, we still don't know for sure. There are no surviving Inca texts explaining the exact purpose of these features, and the Spanish colonial accounts that followed were often vague, biased, or focused on the destruction rather than documentation of Inca spiritual practices. Perhaps the most intriguing part of Qenqo is what lies beneath it. A man-made underground chamber, expertly carved into the solid bedrock, sits in cool silence beneath the main platform. This room, which maintains a naturally stable temperature year-round, contains a flat rectangular stone table, believed to be either an altar or a mummification slab. When sunlight streams through specific slits in the rock, above it illuminates parts of the chamber in a way that seems intentional, hinting at the Incas' advanced understanding of solar patterns. Some scholars believe the room may have been used during solstices for ceremonial rites. Others think it functioned as a sacred portal between the worlds of the living and the dead. But again, no one knows for sure. Qenqo is not just a structure, it's a map of a worldview. In the Inca cosmos, the world was divided into three realms: the Hanan Pacha, the upper world of gods and stars, the Kai Pacha, our earthly world, and the Uku Pacha, the underworld. Qenqo's layout, with its raised platform, ceremonial channels, and underground chamber, may symbolically reflect this cosmic triptych. The zigzag paths and winding passages might represent the spiral nature of time and the cycles of death and rebirth. The very name Qenqo evokes confusion and complexity. It tells us that this site was designed to disorient, to provoke thought, to challenge perception. Was it meant to mimic the journey of the soul? A rite of passage for priests, or a place to commune with the unseen? These are questions modern science still cannot answer definitively. Qenqo is often visited alongside neighboring sites like Sacsayhuaman Tambomachai and Pucallpucará. Together, these formed a sacred landscape surrounding Cusco, a kind of spiritual circuit. Qenqo may have served as a stop along religious processions or acted as a preparation site for more central rituals in Cusco. Its location is also telling, perched high, With commanding views of the valley, it occupies a liminal space between city and wilderness, between the human and divine. Yet again, its precise role within this network remains speculative. Was it a sanctuary for elites, a school for priestly training, a cosmic observatory, or perhaps something we have yet to even conceptualize? Despite all that has been studied, excavated, and hypothesized, Qenqo remains an enigma. Unlike other Inca temples that have more clearly defined functions, such as the Temple of the Sun in Cusco or the agricultural terraces of Moray, Qenqo seems to defy categorization. That's what makes it so fascinating. There are no inscriptions, no written records, no unambiguous archaeological finds to tell us precisely what happened here. The Spanish chroniclers mostly ignored or misunderstood Qenqo. Its carvings don't match any known script, and its layout doesn't conform to standard urban or religious planning. Modern researchers have applied everything from satellite imaging to 3D laser scanning, from archaeoastronomy to geochemical residue analysis, yet no single theory can explain Qenqo in full. Every explanation opens new questions. For example, why build such an elaborate ritual site entirely from stone, with no buildings or roofs? Why invest so much labor into underground rooms when they would be rarely seen? Why align certain carvings to solstice points, yet leave others apparently random? Some have speculated that Qenqo was never meant to be understood. It was a mystery by design, a spiritual labyrinth whose true meaning could only be accessed by initiates, those trained in esoteric Inca knowledge. Others believe the site once had wooden or textile structures that have long since decayed, leaving only the carved skeleton of a once fuller temple complex. And there are more fringe theories, including those that link Qenqo to lost Inca technologies, secret burial sites, or even ancient acoustic experimentation using stone resonance. While these ideas remain speculative, they underscore one essential truth. Qenqo resists easy explanation. In the end, Qenqo may not be a place of answers, but a monument to the unknown. It forces us to accept the limits of our understanding and reminds us that ancient civilizations held beliefs, perceptions, and goals very different from our own. In an age of information, Qenqo stands as a deliberate silence. It is a riddle carved into stone, a temple of forgotten meanings, a maze where knowledge slips through the cracks like water through the ritual channels carved into the rock. Even now, when visitors walk through Qenqo's eerie corridors, touch its cold stone surfaces, and stand in the echoing hush of its subterranean chamber, they feel something beyond explanation, an ancient presence, a sense that this place was important, even if we no longer know exactly why. And perhaps that is the most sacred thing of all. Beneath the blazing sun of Malta, on the wind-blown island of Gozo, lies a structure so old, so massive, and so mysterious, it defies everything we thought we knew about human history. Before the pyramids rose from the sands of Egypt, before Stonehenge marked time on the English plains, the people of Malta built something impossible: towering stone walls, 50-ton megaliths. No wheels, no metal tools, no written records, and yet it stands. They call it Ggantija, the place of giants. But was it really built by human hands? And if so, how? Because the true mystery of Ggantija isn't just its age, it's the fact that even today, no one can explain how it was built. What do you think? Could ancient humans have possessed knowledge or techniques we've lost to time? Or is there something we're still completely missing? Drop your theories in the comments. We'd love to hear what you believe. When we think of ancient monuments, most people immediately picture the Egyptian pyramids or the stone circle of Stonehenge, but few realize that the Ggantija temples in Malta are actually older than both of these famous landmarks. Dated to around 3600–3200 BCE, the site has stood for over 5,600 years and is considered the oldest surviving freestanding religious structure in the world. However, what makes Ggantija truly remarkable isn't just its age, it's the fact that the civilization that built it left behind no written records, no texts, not even symbols. There are no detailed myths, no historical accounts, only massive stones standing silently in the Maltese wind, and it is those stones that tell a story that transcends time. The name Ggantija comes from the old Maltese word Ggant, meaning giant, and it's no coincidence that the site was given such a name. Standing before stones up to 6 meters long and weighing as much as 50 tons, stacked carefully without the use of mortar, one can't help but ask who or what could have created this. According to local folklore passed down through generations, a female giant named Sunsuna built the entire temple in a single night, all while carrying her baby. It may sound mythical, but this legend reflects how ancient people tried to explain the unexplainable. How could a society without wheels or machinery transport and erect such colossal stones? These stories were born from awe and from the inability to comprehend a mystery that defied all logical explanation. Among all the wonders of Ggantija, one question towers above the rest and has left scientists, historians, and engineers baffled for decades. How exactly did Neolithic people move and erect stones weighing up to 50 tons over 5,600 years ago? There are no ancient documents describing the construction process, no carvings of tools or builders, no sign of advanced metal instruments, and crucially, no evidence they had even invented the wheel yet. Still, they built it, and they built it well. One of the most common modern theories suggests they may have used round wooden logs as primitive rollers. Perhaps stone by stone, they slowly pushed the massive blocks across the land. But this theory collapses under closer inspection. Malta's terrain is rocky steep and uneven, a nightmare for rolling multi-ton blocks without flat roads or controlled slopes. Even more baffling, many of Ggantija's heaviest stones were placed at elevated angles and precise alignments, as if lifted and positioned with care. To this day, no physical evidence, no wooden rollers, no sledges, no rope systems has been found to support these assumptions. And yet, the temples stand stones, perfectly interlocked, like ancient puzzles, stable for over 5 millennia without a single drop of mortar. Even with modern 3D modeling, laser scanning, and experimental archaeology, no team has successfully replicated the construction process using only Neolithic tools and techniques. Every attempt ends with guesswork, not certainty. This mystery doesn't just challenge our understanding of Ggantija, it challenges our understanding of what humans were capable of long before recorded history began. Beyond the mysteries of construction, the structure of the Ggantija temples holds a deep symbolic meaning. Many researchers believe that the 2 main chambers of the temple were built in a cloverleaf or trilobed shape, representing the female body, especially the hips and womb, as a way to honor the Mother Earth goddess. Inside, archaeologists have discovered numerous female figurines with full-bodied forms, large breasts, and wide hips, clear symbols of fertility and nourishment. These findings suggest that the prehistoric inhabitants of Malta may have worshipped the life force of nature, viewing fertility, life, and the richness of the land as central to their spiritual existence. Thus, Ggantija was not merely a ritual site, but a sacred symbol of life and continuity. Inside the Ggantija temple, Archaeologists have uncovered numerous traces suggesting that it once served as a major ceremonial center. Stone altars, animal bones from ritual sacrifices, burn marks from fire pits, and a deliberately planned spatial layout. Notably, some chambers were designed to produce strong echoes, creating a mystical and sacred atmosphere, as if helping people connect more deeply with the spiritual realm. These elements indicate that Ggantija was not merely a gathering place for the community, but rather a sacred space where profound religious rituals took place. Its construction demanded not only extraordinary physical effort, but also deep spiritual devotion from the entire community. What makes Ggantija truly remarkable isn't just its scale or age, it's the questions it leaves unanswered. Who built it? Where did they come from? And where did they go? There are no surviving texts, no myths in detail, and no cultural continuation. An entire civilization seems to have been wiped from history, leaving only silent stones behind on the Maltese horizon. Today, even with laser scanners, drones, and 3D imaging technologies, archaeologists can only say, we still don't know for sure. And that's why Ggantija isn't just an ancient site, it's a living symbol of the limits of human knowledge. Tucked away in the high Andes of northern Peru, at the confluence of the Mosna and Huanchexa rivers, lies a mysterious ancient site that continues to captivate archaeologists, historians, and spiritual seekers alike. Chavin de Huantar. Built over 2,500 years ago, this ceremonial complex was once the beating heart of the Chavin civilization, a pre-Inca culture that thrived between 900 and 200 BCE. But Chavin de Huantar was more than just a collection of stone structures. It was an acoustic temple, a psychological theater, and a religious innovation far ahead of its time. If a civilization over 2,500 years ago could design temples to control emotion and perception through sound, how deeply do you think they understood human psychology? Do you believe a place like Chavin de Huantar could truly alter the mind using nothing but architecture and sound? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Chavin de Huantar was not built as a city or military fort. It was constructed as a sacred pilgrimage center, drawing people from across the Andes to engage in spiritual transformation. For many researchers, it is considered one of the earliest and most influential religious hubs in South America, so important that it may have laid the foundations for later Andean spiritual systems, including those of the Inca. Its architecture, iconography, and ceremonial planning suggests that the site was designed to dazzle, disorient, and ultimately elevate its visitors. But what made Chavin truly unique, arguably the most astonishing feature of the site, is what lies below the surface. Beneath the temple's massive stone platforms is a sprawling network of subterranean tunnels, chambers, and ventilation shafts, most of which are constructed without the use of mortar. These underground galleries are not simple passages. They are deliberately engineered spaces that served ritualistic purposes. The darkness, the limited visibility, and the sense of enclosure were carefully manipulated to isolate the senses and guide psychological experiences. These galleries include the famous Gallery of the Lanzon, where one of the most iconic stone sculptures of the Andes resides. El Lanzon, a 4-meter-high carved monolith representing a fanged deity with feline traits. Pilgrims would enter these narrow corridors, guided by the priesthood, often in complete darkness, and emerge before the Lanzon in what must have been an awe-inspiring moment of spiritual climax. But the visual drama of the encounter was only part of the experience. Sound, deep vibrating and disorienting sound, was the true tool of transformation. Recent studies by acoustic archaeologists have revealed that the underground galleries of Chavin de Huantar were designed to manipulate sound in astonishing ways. Narrow stone corridors with specific angles and surfaces create natural reverberation that amplifies low frequencies and echoes footsteps, voices, and instruments in unnatural patterns. Even the shape of the tunnels and ventilation shafts seems to support the direction and intensity of acoustic flow. Particularly intriguing is the discovery of Pututus conch shell trumpets made from tropical marine shells found buried at the site. Though Chavin is high in the mountains, these shells originated from the coast hundreds of miles away, indicating a wide network of trade and spiritual influence. When blown in the underground chambers, these instruments produce a deep, otherworldly bellowing sound, rich in bass frequencies that reverberates powerfully through the stone walls. Experiments show that a single pututu can be heard throughout multiple chambers, creating the illusion of multiple voices or spirits speaking at once. Some chambers seem to have been designed with standing wave acoustics, the kind that causes a tone to linger unnaturally in the air. Other areas amplify whispers and suppress high-pitched sounds, making every breath or murmur feel like it comes from deep within the earth itself. Imagine a pilgrim walking in total darkness, guided only by torchlight, and the sound of pulsing trumpets, distorted voices, and echoing chants. The architecture of Chavin was built to confuse the senses, evoke fear, awe, and surrender, and bring the worshipper into a state of psychological and spiritual openness. In a sense, Chavin de Huantar was the first immersive audio temple in the world, a place where architecture and sound worked together to create a multi-sensory encounter with the divine. Adding to the mystery, Chavin de Huantar is adorned with stone heads and carvings that represent humans in various stages of transformation into animals, often cats, snakes, or birds of prey. These faces are contorted, fanged, wide-eyed, and often shown with mucus streaming from their noses, a known side effect of ingesting powerful psychoactive plants. This has led many scholars to propose that the rituals of Chavin involved hallucinogens, such as San Pedro cactus, to induce altered states of consciousness. Combined with darkness, sound, and guided rituals, these substances may have helped participants experience a personal metamorphosis, emerging as spiritually reborn beings after the rites. One of the strangest features of Chavin de Huantar is its collection of non-local materials, especially marine shells used for pututus and decorative items despite being far inland. This implies that Chavin was not isolated. Instead, it was part of a vast web of trade and influence, stretching from the Amazon to the Pacific coast. This level of connection and complexity further supports the idea that Chavin functioned as an elite center of religious innovation, drawing people and resources from across the region. Though the Chavin culture eventually declined around 200 BCE, its spiritual and artistic legacy lived on in later civilizations. The Moche Nazca and even the Inca inherited many of Chavin's religious symbols, artistic motifs, and ceremonial structures. The idea of temples as sensory experience centers where sound, darkness, and altered perception played key roles became a recurring feature in Andean religious architecture. Chavin de Huantar's mysterious design continues to influence modern thinking about how ancient cultures used architecture not just for shelter or ceremony, but as tools to shape human consciousness. In 1985, UNESCO designated Chavin de Huantar as a World Heritage Site, recognizing its outstanding universal value. It is one of the few ancient sites in the world that so clearly demonstrates the intersection of art, engineering, psychology, and religion. Even today, visitors to Chavin report a deep sense of reverence and wonder. Standing inside the echoing chambers or in front of the Lanzon, It's easy to imagine the ancient ceremonies unfolding, the deep rumble of the pututus, the flickering shadows, the transformation of sound into spirit. Chavin de Huantar challenges modern assumptions about ancient civilizations. It reveals a people who were not just builders and artisans, but engineers of the mind, capable of crafting environments that profoundly altered human perception. Their mastery of acoustic symbolism and spiritual architecture proves that while their tools may have been simple, their understanding of the human experience was anything but. If there is such a thing as ancient immersive design, Chavin de Huantar may have been its birthplace, a place where the walls themselves could whisper, where gods were heard before they were seen, and where every echo was part of a sacred performance. Beneath the dusty hills of northern Morocco, just beyond the winding Lixus River, lies a place where history is not gone, only hidden. Lixus is not a ruin lost to time, but a city holding its breath. A place where gods were worshipped, empires overlapped, and legends were born. Yet most of it remains unseen, untouched, still buried beneath the earth. This isn't just one of Africa's oldest cities, it's one of its most secretive. For every mosaic or temple unearthed, dozens more lie silent under layers of forgotten soil. What ancient shrines, what lost streets, what voices from the past still echo in the ground, waiting for discovery. Lixus is not a closed chapter. It is a story half-written, a city still dreaming underground. And perhaps the most astonishing parts haven't even been uncovered yet. If you could excavate just one part of the buried city of Lixus, what would you choose? An ancient forgotten temple, an undiscovered residential quarter, or perhaps a wall that might hold a message no one has ever read? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Lixus hasn't told its full story, yet your idea might just match what still lies beneath the ground. From the air, Lixus looks like a scattered arrangement of stones on a dusty hill. But archaeologists know that this is just the beginning. Only a fraction of the ancient city has been unearthed, and what lies beneath could change everything we know about ancient Morocco and perhaps even Mediterranean history as a whole. In fact, experts believe that as much as 70% of the ancient city remains underground, sealed away under layers of soil, vegetation, and time. This includes residential neighborhoods, religious sanctuaries, burial grounds, warehouses, and potentially entire city blocks. Ground-penetrating radar and limited trial digs have revealed anomalies and wall foundations that suggest the current visible ruins are just the tip of the archaeological iceberg. This is not due to lack of interest, but a combination of limited funding, logistical complexity, and the sheer scale of the site. Digging Lixus isn't just a matter of excavation. It's an act of carefully peeling back the layers of time inch by inch without destroying what lies underneath. The question is more than just poetic, it's scientific. What still lies buried beneath Lixus? No one knows for sure, and that's what makes it so exciting. Some researchers speculate the underground portions may contain temples from the earliest Phoenician phase, possibly older than any religious structure currently visible. Others believe there are Carthaginian administrative buildings or hidden necropolises where the elite of Lixus may have been buried with offerings, jewelry, or texts. There's also the possibility of undiscovered Roman mosaics far more elaborate than the few already exposed, and perhaps even early Islamic constructions layered on top of Roman foundations. These still undiscovered elements could completely reshape our understanding of how Lixus evolved, how cultures interacted here, and how spiritual and civic life transformed across millennia. Archaeology is a field built on evidence, but also on patience. And in Lixus, the earth is still holding its breath. Lixus is not a singularly defined city. It is a tapestry of civilizations, a rare example of a site where cultures did not replace one another, but layered themselves like pages in a book. That makes the unexcavated areas especially important because each layer is an unedited chapter in human history. Excavating even a small section could reveal connections between civilizations that textbooks only guess at. Moreover, Lixus was not an isolated outpost. It was part of a larger network of ancient trade that stretched from sub-Saharan Africa to the Levant, from Iberia to Egypt. Discoveries made here could contain artifacts from across continents, ceramics from Spain, coins from Carthage, ivory from the Sahel, and possibly texts in Phoenician Latin or Arabic. Imagine uncovering a sealed chamber filled with trade goods or a temple wall bearing unknown inscriptions. These are not fantasies. They are entirely plausible based on the site's historical context. For all its silence, Lixus is on the brink of a new chapter. Recent efforts by Moroccan archaeologists in collaboration with international researchers are laying the groundwork for future large-scale excavations. Technologies like drone mapping, LiDAR scanning, and 3D reconstruction are being employed to map the unexcavated portions of the city without disturbing the ground. These tools are already producing stunning results. Subsurface imaging has revealed networks of roads, alleys, and building foundations indicating that a fully functioning city lies below. These findings are helping archaeologists identify where to dig next, reducing the risk of damaging fragile artifacts and focusing resources where they matter most. Yet, despite the promise, progress is slow. Funding remains a major obstacle, and until significant investment is made, Lixus will remain largely a mystery, a sleeping city beneath the soil. Lixus represents something rare in today's world, a site that is both ancient and unfinished, where the next turn of a trowel could alter history. In an age where most ruins have already been catalogued, excavated, and placed behind museum glass, Lixus is still alive in a different way. It still has secrets to share. It forces us to ask how much of our history remains hidden simply because we haven't dug deep enough. What stories remain untold because we haven't looked in the right place? And what will it take to bring these stories back into the light? Lixus doesn't just tell us about the past. It reminds us that the past isn't finished yet. In every crack between Lixus's stones, there is a whisper. In every buried wall, a silence waiting to be broken. In every unturned inch of soil, a truth waiting to surface. For centuries, empires have walked across this hilltop, leaving footprints, building temples, and layering their dreams in stone. But much of what they left behind is still buried, waiting for hands careful enough and minds curious enough to bring it back. Lixus is not just a ruin. It is a story still unfolding, a mystery still buried, and a future still to be written, one excavation at a time. Beneath the desert dust lies a forgotten engineering wonder. Long before skyscrapers rose over Phoenix, and before a single drop of water was pumped by modern machines, an ancient people carved lifelines into the Arizona desert. Without metal tools, without wheels, and without writing, they built something that still baffles modern engineers, a vast, intricate canal system stretching hundreds of miles, hand-dug through scorched earth and flowing with astonishing precision. These were the Hohokam canals, a 1,000-year-old hydraulic masterpiece hidden beneath the sands of time. Not only did they turn barren land into fertile farmland, they did it with an accuracy that challenges even today's technology. But here's the real mystery. How did they do it? No maps, no measuring tools, no blueprints. Yet the canals still follow gradients so perfect they're still in use today. This isn't just a story of ancient agriculture. It's a story of lost knowledge, silent genius, and one of North America's greatest unsolved engineering riddles. Let's uncover it. What do you think about this ancient feat? Did the Hohokam possess a lost secret technique? Or was it simply the result of patience and knowledge passed down over generations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Who knows, maybe your idea will add a missing piece to this thousand-year-old mystery. Around 300 AD, the Hohokam, an indigenous culture that lived in the Salt and Gila River Basin's modern-day Phoenix area, began constructing the first of these canals. Over time, the network expanded to more than 800 miles, 300 kilometers in length, an astonishing feat, considering that the entire system was hand-dug using simple stone and wooden tools with no assistance from metal tools, wheels, or draft animals. This canal system enabled the Hohokam to irrigate tens of thousands of hectares, transforming a cracked desert floor into fertile agricultural fields. They cultivated corn beans, squash, edible cactus, and even cotton crops that were later traded with neighboring regions. It was a sustainable and sophisticated agriculture system that endured through centuries of harsh desert climate. What's most astonishing is that the Hohokam canals were not primitive ditches. They were designed with extremely precise gradients, approximately 1 to 2 feet per mile, 20-40 centimeters per kilometer. This gradient allowed water to flow steadily, fast enough to reach distant fields, but slow enough to prevent soil erosion. Ancient Hohokam engineers also built feeder canals, check dams, and sluice gates to regulate water flow to specific fields, forming a complete water management system that rivals modern engineering. Some primary canals were over 10 meters wide, as deep as 2 meters, and stretched for dozens of kilometers across varying terrain. Maintaining such a consistent slope over these long distances without modern surveying equipment seems nearly impossible, yet the Hohokam accomplished it. This is perhaps the greatest mystery surrounding the Hohokam canal system, and it's one that archaeologists, engineers, and historians still struggle to explain. The Hohokam left no written records, no maps, and no known standardized measuring systems. So how did they manage to maintain canal gradients that were neither too steep, which would cause erosion, nor too shallow, which would stall the water? Some theories suggest they used solar observation, basic leveling with cords and still water, or relied on generations of experiential knowledge. But none of these theories fully explain the extreme accuracy of the main canals, many of which functioned effectively for centuries without major repairs or redesigns. Even with today's technology, achieving a slope of 0.02% across natural terrain requires specialized instruments like automatic levels GPS or laser-based surveying tools. Yet the Hohokam achieved such precision over 1,000 years ago. Some researchers speculate that the Hohokam developed a kind of folk engineering, an intuitive grasp of terrain and water behavior passed down through generations. Others propose that their society was highly organized, with a class of specialist surveyors or engineers trained through practical apprenticeship. Either way, this remains a technical marvel without a definitive explanation. Evidence that some ancient civilizations may have possessed levels of ingenuity far beyond what we typically assume. For nearly 1,000 years, the Hohokam canals sustained one of the most remarkable desert civilizations in North America. Generation after generation maintained, expanded, and relied on this intricate water system to grow crops, support trade, and build thriving communities in a land where rain was scarce. And then around 1450 AD, everything changed. The canals fell silent. Villages were abandoned. Without signs of a major war, natural disaster, or foreign invasion, their sudden disappearance remains a haunting mystery. Scholars have proposed theories: prolonged drought, internal social unrest, or ecological collapse due to overuse of land, but no explanation fully satisfies. What is certain, however, is that their legacy endured. Centuries later, American settlers rediscovered these ancient earthworks and reused them to irrigate farms. Even today, parts of Arizona's modern irrigation system still trace the original paths carved by Hohokam hands, quiet echoes of a civilization that vanished but never truly disappeared. Today, the Hohokam canals are recognized as a cultural and engineering heritage of exceptional value. They serve not only as a testament to ancient hydraulic knowledge, but also as a reminder that even in the harshest environments, human ingenuity, adaptation, and community coordination can flourish. But what truly sets this system apart is its unresolved mystery. How did the Hohokam measure such precise slopes across vast terrain without modern tools? How did they keep water flowing smoothly for hundreds of years without blockages or collapses? Who designed it? Was it the work of one genius, a group of specialists, or a well-structured society? This is not just a story about water in the desert. It's a story of human intelligence, perseverance, and the mysteries of history that still defy explanation. If you've ever thought ancient civilizations were primitive or unsophisticated, take a moment to look at what the Hohokam achieved. No machines, no metal, no maps. Yet they reshaped the flow of an entire desert and left behind a legacy still visible today. Buried not in sand, but in silence, lies one of the strangest archaeological enigmas on Earth. In the sun-scorched heart of northeastern Brazil, far from any ancient temple or lost city, stands a lonely slab of stone. It doesn't look like much until you get closer. Etched into its granite face are hundreds of symbols, spirals, stars, creatures' patterns that seem almost mathematical, and none of them match any known language on Earth. This is Pedra do Inga, the stone that speaks in an unknown tongue. For over a century, it has mocked historians, confused linguists, and inspired wild theories from star maps to lost civilizations, even alien contact. Because the carvings on this stone aren't just mysterious, they don't belong to anything we've ever seen before. Not Mayan, not Incan, not indigenous Brazilian. No one knows who made them or what they were trying to say. But the message, whatever it is, has lasted thousands of years, and it's still waiting to be heard. What do you think these symbols mean? Could they be a lost language, an ancient code, or something far beyond what we can understand? Drop your theories in the comments. We'd love to hear how you interpret this ancient mystery. On the steel-hard granite surface of Pedra do Inga, stretching horizontally across the rock, are hundreds of meticulously carved symbols, strange spirals, geometric patterns, circles, squares, wave-like lines, fish shapes, humanoid figures with outstretched arms, even depictions of the sun and moon, all seeming to belong to an entirely foreign symbolic universe. What troubles archaeologists is not the state of preservation. In fact, the carvings remain remarkably clear, but rather the nature and inner mystery of the symbols themselves. These carvings do not match any known writing system or visual art tradition, including those of major indigenous cultures like the Tupi-Guarani or other pre-Columbian peoples of South America. Since its discovery, many scholars have attempted to compare the symbols of Pedra do Inga with Egyptian hieroglyphs, Sumerian cuneiform, Mayan glyphs, and even the Phoenician alphabet. However, no system offers a close enough match to support a plausible decoding. Some symbols appear repeatedly spirals, outstretched figures, suggesting there may be an internal logic, possibly even a coded system or a form of language previously unknown to humankind. But the greatest challenge is this: we have no point of reference, no bilingual inscriptions accompanying artifacts or contextual clues. This creates a rare paradox in archaeology, a site that might hold a form of ancient language, yet remains completely inaccessible. A permanently locked language, one whose speakers have vanished and whose key has never been found. Granite is one of the hardest natural stones. Even with modern tools, carving into granite requires specialized technology, mechanical force, and extreme precision. Yet, at Pedra do Inga, the entire system of mysterious symbols was carved entirely by hand, and to this day, there is no evidence that metal tools or machinery were used. This raises a profound question among researchers. What kind of tools did ancient people use to etch such sharp, consistent, and extensive lines onto a stone as hard as steel? Some theories suggest they may have used quartz, a material harder than granite, to create an abrasive effect. However, given the scale of the carvings, their uniform depth, and remarkable clarity, the level of technical skill involved far exceeds what we typically imagine for prehistoric societies. This isn't just a challenge of materials, it's a question of knowledge, craftsmanship, and the deeper purpose behind these enigmatic engravings. One of the greatest challenges in studying Pedra do Inga is the inability to determine its exact age. There is no organic material directly associated with the carved surface, so radiocarbon dating is not feasible. However, archaeological surveys in the surrounding area have uncovered tools and pottery fragments that may be between 2,000 and 6,000 years old, suggesting that humans inhabited the region very early on. But what is even more astonishing is that no known prehistoric indigenous culture in Brazil had such sophisticated stone carving techniques. The symbols at Pedra do Inga do not match any known artistic tradition or recording system. This makes it a monument out of place in the timeline of South American history, as if it came from an entirely different realm of knowledge. In efforts to decipher the mysterious symbols of Pedra do Inga, some modern researchers, including engineers, astronomers, and linguists, have proposed the theory that it might represent an ancient star map or a prehistoric astronomical calendar. Certain carvings are thought to resemble the Orion constellation, the Big Dipper, and even structures that mimic a heliocentric model, with planets orbiting around a central point. If true, this would suggest a remarkable level of celestial observation and cosmic thinking far beyond what is typically attributed to indigenous cultures of that era. Additionally, given its location beside the Inga River, other scholars have theorized that Pedra do Inga might be a hydrological chart, recording events such as floods, droughts, seasonal cycles, or important climate signals. However, to this day, no interpretive system has been sufficiently rigorous to gain official acceptance within the academic community. It is precisely the mystery of the symbols, the advanced stone carving technique, and the complete lack of any clear cultural connection to Pedra do Inga that have made it a focal point for many fringe theories. Some alternative researchers believe that this stone was not created by ancient humans, but is instead the legacy of a lost civilization, possibly from the mythical continent of Atlantis, or even a trace of extraterrestrial intervention. The abstract, undecipherable symbols that bear no link to any known cultural system have led many to believe that this is a message or knowledge not meant for our time. While mainstream science rejects these theories, the existence of a language that no one has ever understood continues to fuel imagination and debate among those fascinated by history's greatest mysteries. Today, Pedra do Inga is officially recognized as a protected archaeological site open to the public for visitation. Next to the stone stands a small museum that displays models, images, and various research theories. Visitors can come in person, touch the mysterious spiral carvings, observe fish-like figures seemingly swimming across the rock, and experience for themselves the mystique of an undeciphered symbolic system. Pedra do Inga is not merely a work of art, nor simply an ancient relic. It is a challenge to our scientific understanding. If it's a writing system, why does it match no known language? If it's just art, why is it so systematic and extensive? Perhaps Pedra do Inga is the missing piece of a forgotten civilization, or maybe it's a message that we simply don't yet have the language to understand. Whatever the truth, the stone still stands, weathered by thousands of years, as an unopened black box of human history. Hidden deep in the shadowy slopes of Bulgaria's Rhodope Mountains, a skull was found. Not just a skull, but a face that defies everything we know about life on Earth. It wasn't human, it wasn't animal, and it didn't belong to any known species in science. No DNA match, no evolutionary relatives, no explanation. Today they call it the alien skull of Rhodope, a discovery so bizarre, so anatomically alien, that even experts were left speechless. Revered by ancient astronaut theorists, dismissed by skeptics, and shrouded in silence by institutions, it remains one of the most unclassifiable life forms ever encountered, a biological mystery staring straight back at us. And the deeper you look, the stranger it gets. What do you think this skull really was? A mutated species lost to history? An elaborate hoax? Or could it be something not from this Earth? Drop your theories in the comments below. We want to hear your take on this mystery. From the very first glance, the Rhodope skull stunned researchers not because it was beautiful or ancient, but because it was so foreign. Its size is roughly that of a human infant's skull, yet its structure completely deviates from any known anatomical framework. The skull has an unusually flat shape with thin, fragile bone material, suggesting a delicate creature unlike any animal ever known to have existed on Earth. The most shocking detail is that it completely lacks a lower jaw. In both humans and mammals, the jawbone is essential for eating, for speaking, even for facial expression. But here nothing. The nasal cavity is almost sealed, as if this being didn't breathe the way we do, or didn't need to breathe at all. This detail alone not only surprised many, but deeply unsettled them. And there's more. The skull contains 6 sinus cavities, a number unheard of in any mammalian species. By comparison, the human skull has only 2 or 3. The presence of 6 suggests a respiratory system and intracranial pressure entirely different from anything we've observed before. Its eye sockets are also unusually large and positioned toward the front, a trait often found in nocturnal predators. But to many, this appearance evokes the image of the grey alien, so common in pop culture. The bones around the eyes are thin and delicate, seemingly adapted for low-gravity environments or dimly lit spaces such as underground or perhaps off-world. The upper part of the skull is elongated with subtle ridges running along its length, a clue that this creature's brain structure may have been very different from that of primates and certainly not human. Scientists tried comparing this skull to everything human remains, ape fossils, extinct mammals, even rare congenital deformities. But after analyzing hundreds of comparative samples, they still couldn't place it on any branch of the tree of life. Not human, not animal, not anything we've ever known. This is where the story begins to slide into darker territory. Because in the realm of biology, there are rules. Evolution leaves trails. Fossils leave relatives, and anomalies always have an explanation eventually. But not here. Professional anthropologists and zoologists consulted on the skull reportedly could not categorize it into any known species, either living or extinct. Genetic analysis, if any was ever conducted, has not been made public. And while fringe theorists scream alien, many scientists just went silent. Some claimed it could be a deformity of a human fetus. But experts quickly rejected this. Even the most extreme cases of hydrocephalus or cranial malformation don't account for the sinus count, the bone density, or the jawless structure. Others suggested it might belong to an unrecorded primate species. Yet again, the skeletal composition was off, completely mismatched. No primate, no reptile, no mammal matched the profile. One zoologist bluntly summarized, "This doesn't belong to any taxonomic group we've ever seen." The skull was in the truest sense a biological orphan, a structure with no evolutionary parents, no siblings in the fossil record, no scientific home, and that is what makes it terrifying. The man who discovered the skull never meant to. His name was never formally published, but according to interviews and fringe reports, he had been led to the site by a dream one in which he claimed a humanoid being dressed in yellow metal pointed him to the exact spot in the Rhodope Mountains. When he arrived, he uncovered the strange skull, along with a small triangular metallic object which has also never been identified. The object was described as being warm to the touch and non-reflective, made of a metal that did not rust and bore no seams or screws. This bizarre narrative, equal parts folklore and fever dream, has made many academics dismiss the case outright. But the skull was real, photographed, handled, studied, and later vanished from public view. Some believe it was seized by Bulgarian authorities. Others claim private collectors paid handsomely to have it hidden. And then there are those who whisper of military intelligence and cover-ups, but that's where the story turns from strange to speculative. What makes the Rhodope skull uniquely disturbing is not just its physical structure, but how it resists categorization. Science, for all its power, is a tool of order. It seeks patterns, systems, relationships. But this skull rejects order. It doesn't belong in the fossil record, and its very existence challenges our assumptions about life on Earth. No DNA match, no evolutionary lineage, no precedent. Could it be a hoax? Maybe, but if so, it is one of the most elaborate biological fabrications ever constructed, mimicking real bone material, complete with inner sinus cavities, natural curvature, and mineral composition resembling fossilized organic remains. Could it be a deformed animal? Highly unlikely. Could it be something else? This is where we hit the deepest mystery of all. Over time, the Rhodope skull has become more than just an object. It has become a symbol of everything we don't know and maybe don't want to know. It sits at the intersection of science and myth, reality and imagination, credibility and madness. For the scientific establishment, it's a nightmare, an object that refuses to fit, yet demands to be explained. For the public, it is fuel for endless speculation. Aliens, ancient astronauts, lost civilizations, interdimensional travelers, all find a home in the hollow eye sockets of this strange, silent face. Whether it's truly extraterrestrial or simply an unsolved earthly puzzle, the skull continues to haunt the fringes of human curiosity. So, what was it? A hoax that fooled experts, an ancient mutation that left no descendants, or a visitor from elsewhere long dead and buried in the mountain soil? No one knows, and until the skull resurfaces and undergoes transparent peer-reviewed analysis, we may never know. But perhaps that's what gives it power, because the most disturbing mysteries are the ones that look us straight in the face and remain completely, utterly unfamiliar. Buried beneath millions of limestone blocks lies a secret that has evaded discovery for over 4,500 years. The Great Pyramid of Giza, a monument so ancient it predates the invention of the wheel. In some parts of the world, has long stood as a riddle carved in stone. We've explored its chambers, mapped its corridors, and believed we knew its design. But in 2017, science proved us wrong. Not with shovels, not with sonar, but with cosmic particles from deep space. Scientists uncovered something no one ever expected. A vast, hidden void inside the pyramid, completely sealed, untouched, and unknown until now. What is this chamber? Why was it built? And why has it remained hidden for millennia? This is not just an archaeological anomaly. It's a doorway to a deeper mystery, one that challenges everything we thought we knew about the most iconic structure in human history. So what do you think lies inside this hidden chamber? A forgotten burial room, ancient technology, or something even more mysterious? We'd love to hear your theories. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. In the journey to uncover ancient secrets, perhaps nothing is more astonishing than using particles from outer space to reveal a mystery that has remained hidden for over 4,500 years. Instead of drilling or breaking stone, as in traditional methods, scientists employed a technology that sounds almost like science fiction. Muon tomography, a scanning technique using muon particles to peer inside the Great Pyramid of Giza without disturbing a single stone. Muons are subatomic particles created when cosmic rays collide with the Earth's atmosphere. Unlike X-rays, muons possess far greater energy and can penetrate dense materials like limestone and granite, the primary materials that make up the Great Pyramid. This makes them the perfect tool to see through ancient architectural structures that the human eye and conventional technology cannot reach. The Scan Pyramids Project, a collaboration between Cairo University, Egypt Nagoya University, Japan, and the HIP Institute, France, deployed a series of muon detectors at multiple locations inside and around the Great Pyramid over several months. They did not dig or destroy anything. Instead, they quietly tracked millions of muon trajectories as they passed through the stone structure. By measuring muon density at different points, scientists were able to reconstruct a 3D mass map of the pyramid's interior. And from that data, something incredible emerged directly above the Grand Gallery. The central passageway inside the pyramid appeared a massive void, roughly 30 meters in length, shaped like a straight tunnel and completely inaccessible by any known corridor or shaft. No one has ever stepped inside. No ancient text has mentioned it. No light has reached this space for thousands of years. This discovery is not a theory. It is solid scientific evidence, confirmed and officially published in Nature, one of the most prestigious scientific journals in the world. The event sent shockwaves through the academic world, from skeptics and astonished experts to thrilled researchers who finally witnessed modern science accomplish what centuries of archaeology had failed to do: the detection of a hidden chamber previously unknown inside the most magnificent ancient structure on Earth. The mysterious chamber was estimated to be at least 30 meters long, roughly the size of a Boeing 737 fuselage, and about 6 meters high, almost as tall as the Grand Gallery beneath it. Remarkably, it is not connected to any known passage or room, suggesting that it may have remained completely untouched for 4,500 years. The chamber also shows no signs of collapse or obstruction, indicating it may be intact, just as it was when originally built. This leads researchers to a new and profound question: why was such a vast space created only to be hidden? The existence of a massive hidden void inside the Great Pyramid has raised one of the most controversial questions. Why did the ancient Egyptians build it and then seal it off completely? Some conservative scholars suggest it was merely a relieving chamber, a structural void designed to reduce pressure on the Grand Gallery below. But if that were the case, why build it to such a great length, 30 meters, and shape it like a secret horizontal corridor. Many other researchers lean toward the theory that it was a ceremonial chamber or a hidden repository for sacred artifacts, possibly even a secondary burial chamber for a royal figure lost to history. Others propose it may have been part of a deceptive architectural system carefully designed to mislead intruders, a protective strategy crafted by a long-lost civilization to safeguard its most precious secrets. As soon as the hidden void was discovered, one question immediately arose. Why not drill a small hole and insert a camera to see what's inside? It sounds simple, but in reality, it's far more complicated. The Great Pyramid of Giza is a priceless heritage of all humanity, and any physical intervention, even a small drill, carries the risk of causing irreversible damage to this ancient structure. A single miscalculation could lead to cracks in the stone, structural collapse, or disturbance of the internal chambers. Moreover, the Egyptian authorities have not granted permission for any invasive exploration of the hidden void area. After multiple past excavations that resulted in damage, they are now extremely cautious, as no one wants to be remembered as the one who harmed the greatest surviving monument of the ancient world. What excites scientists even more is the fact that muon scanning technology has only been applied to a very small portion of the Great Pyramid, and yet it has already revealed a massive void that was previously unknown. This opens up a bold hypothesis. How many more hidden chambers might still be concealed within this gigantic stone structure? There could be smaller spaces buried deeper below, or cleverly hidden between layers of dense stone. If that's the case, then all the structural diagrams we've relied on for decades may have only revealed the tip of the iceberg. This discovery isn't merely about adding another room to the structural blueprint. It forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the engineering skills and architectural mindset of the ancient Egyptians. Constructing a 30-meter-long void embedded within millions of tons of stone that has remained intact for thousands of years without collapsing or leaving any visible trace, that is a staggering technical achievement. Did they calculate load distribution with near-perfect precision, or was there a symbolic or functional purpose far beyond that of a typical burial structure? This quiet perfection has placed the ancient Egyptians in a position that modern science can no longer afford to underestimate. The hidden chambers in the Great Pyramid isn't just an archaeological footnote, it's a powerful reminder that history still holds secrets. A structure built around 2500 BCE continues to challenge modern science and ignite the human imagination. As technology continues to advance, perhaps one day, we will finally peek inside that chamber and discover whether it contains nothing but stone and dust, or the long-lost whisper of a forgotten past. Hidden deep within the eucalyptus forests of New South Wales, far from any pyramid sphinx or Nile River, lies one of the most baffling archaeological enigmas ever discovered. Known as the Gosford Glyphs or the Carryong hieroglyphs, this mysterious site features over 300 stone carvings that look nothing like Aboriginal rock art. Instead, they mirror the sacred hieroglyphs of ancient Egypt. How did they get there? Who carved them and why? This isn't just a curiosity. If authentic, it could rewrite everything we know about ancient seafaring contact between civilizations and the true reach of Egyptian exploration. Let's dive into one of the world's most forbidden mysteries, right in the heart of the Australian outback. But what do you think? Could the ancient Egyptians have really made it to Australia thousands of years ago? Do you believe the Gosford Glyphs are an elaborate hoax, or is there a deeper truth hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear your theory, no matter how wild or logical it sounds. Etched into two sandstone walls over 3 meters high and more than 15 meters long, over 300 deeply carved and sharply defined symbols were discovered hidden in the forests of Carryong, New South Wales. What makes them so remarkable is that these carvings are not typical of Aboriginal Australian rock art. According to many Egyptology researchers, they closely resemble the ancient hieroglyphic writing system of Egypt. Easily recognizable images include the sun god Ra, with a solar disk, Anubis with a jackal's head, the solar bark, the Eye of Horus, and seated figures holding scepters, all of which are common religious symbols found in Egyptian tombs and sacred texts. The level of detail and symbolic accuracy in these carvings has led many observers to ask a startling question. Could it be possible that thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians crossed the oceans and reached the distant shores of Australia? One of the most unbelievable aspects of the Gosford Glyphs is their location. The carvings are etched into sandstone walls deep within the Carryong Forest in New South Wales, completely isolated from any major settlement, and more importantly, there is no surrounding archaeological evidence to suggest the presence of any ancient civilization. This is not the kind of place where you'd expect to find traces of an advanced culture like ancient Egypt, renowned for its pyramids, the Sphinx, and the Nile River. The distance between Egypt and Australia is over 10,000 kilometers, a sea journey that would be extremely challenging even with today's technology. Imagining that Egyptians, 4,000 years ago, could have sailed across the Indian and South Pacific Oceans to reach the Australian wilderness sounds like pure science fiction, yet the carvings remain silently demanding answers no one has been able to definitively provide. One of the most curious and unusual theories surrounding the Gosford Glyphs is the story of an Egyptian prince named Nefer-Jeseb, believed by some to have been a son of Pharaoh Khufu, the famous ruler who built the Great Pyramid of Giza. According to an unofficial translation proposed by independent researchers who support the theory of ancient contact, the carvings at Carryong are not random decorations, but rather a farewell message written in hieroglyphs recounting the final journey of Prince Nefer-Jeseb. He is said to have set out in search of new lands, but his ship was wrecked and drifted to a southern land of jungles and spirits. There, the prince was bitten by a snake and died in pain. Strangely, the rock walls feature numerous carvings of boats' deities, symbols of death and suffering details that eerily align with the story. However, no ancient Egyptian records mention a prince by this name, and to this day, the entire legend remains speculative, lacking any concrete evidence. Although the Gosford Glyphs have long captured the imagination of those who believe in ancient contact theories, most mainstream archaeologists and historians argue that they are merely a modern hoax. The most widely accepted theory suggests that the carvings were likely made by soldiers stationed in the area during World War I or II, or by enthusiasts of Egyptology attempting to recreate a mythical tale, or even just a bored individual with decent stone carving skills. Scholars point out several reasons for skepticism. Many of the glyphs are believed to contain grammatical errors, and some mix symbols from entirely different periods of Egyptian history, something that a true ancient scribe would never have done. Additionally, some characters appear to be modern inventions not found in any recognized hieroglyphic system. Most importantly, no archaeological artifacts have ever been discovered at the site. No pottery shards, tools, ship remnants, or human remains to support the idea that ancient Egyptians once set foot in the area. Given these inconsistencies, many researchers view the Gosford Glyphs as an underground art project rather than a genuine piece of ancient history. Although many archaeologists and historians have dismissed the Gosford Glyphs as a modern hoax, it is precisely the unexplained and unusual details that make this site one of the most controversial archaeological enigmas in the world. Regardless of whether they are fake or authentic, the glyphs undeniably exist, and they possess anomalies that cannot be easily ignored. First, there is the matter of the depth and sharpness of the carvings. Many of the symbols are cut into the sandstone with consistent depth and clean straight lines, something very difficult to achieve by hand using primitive tools, especially on a soft and erosion-prone rock like sandstone. The mystery deepens when you consider that some glyphs have been documented since the 1970s, meaning they have withstood over 50 years of rain moss and harsh weather. Yet they remain remarkably crisp. If someone carved them in the 20th century, why are there no signs of erosion, as would be expected from outdoor carvings over decades? Second, the remote location of the glyphs raises further questions. They are hidden deep within the Karyong bushland, far from any public trail or tourist spot. If someone were attempting to create a secret art project or just play a prank, why choose such an inaccessible, unknown place? The logistics of transporting tools, climbing rock walls, and carving hundreds of symbols in silence without leaving a trace are difficult to imagine. Another mystery lies in the way the local Aboriginal community regards the area. For generations, the indigenous people of Karyong have considered this site sacred, although they have not specified why. Intriguingly, elements of their traditional art, such as sun motifs, boats, and large eyes, bear surprising similarities to symbols found in the Gosford Glyphs. Could there have been some form of ancient cultural exchange that is now lost to history? Finally, in the decades since the glyphs became known, no one has ever claimed responsibility for creating them. No artist, prankster, or student group has stepped forward to say, "This was our work." That long-standing silence has led many to believe that the true origin may be far more complex than a simple hoax. And it is precisely because of these factors, the precision, the hidden location, the spiritual reverence, and the enduring mystery of authorship, that the Gosford Glyphs remain an open question, challenging both scientific understanding and public imagination. To date, there is no verified archaeological evidence proving that Egyptians ever reached Australia. No Egyptian relics have been found in Australian soil, no ancient structures, no settlement sites. But the Gosford Glyphs still exist, etched clearly into the stone, and their physical presence cannot be denied. Serious scholars admit, while the idea of modern hobbyists creating them is plausible, it still doesn't explain how the carvings have remained so pristine, why the site was chosen, or why the glyphs contain such spiritually significant content. The Gosford Glyphs are a test of our critical thinking, our scientific discipline, and our historical imagination. If they're fake, they may represent one of the most elaborate and enduring archaeological pranks ever created. If they're real, they might rewrite an entire chapter of human history, suggesting that ancient Egyptians traveled farther than we ever thought possible. Until the mystery is definitively solved, the Gosford Glyphs will continue to captivate explorers, historians, skeptics, and believers alike. Beneath the cracked stone layers of Morocco's arid Jebel Irhoud mountains, where wind and time seem to have erased all traces of life, archaeologists made a stunning discovery: buried for over 300,000 years, ancient human fossils with faces eerily similar to our own. This find sent shockwaves through the scientific world. It didn't just force us to rewrite the timeline of human evolution, it raised a haunting question. Where did modern humans truly begin? And how? The being uncovered here is not quite us, but not entirely something else either. It exists in that blurred frontier between the ancient and the modern, between beast and human, a mysterious hybrid hominin, at once unfamiliar and strangely familiar. And it's this contradiction that makes it a true giant in evolutionary history, not in body size, but in historical impact. What do you think about this creature with a face like modern humans, but an ancient brain? Should we consider them part of the human family or a completely separate branch? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Which side of the debate are you on? When researchers determined that the fossils at Jebel Irhoud were around 300,000 years old, the scientific community was stunned. For decades, the prevailing theory held that modern humans Homo sapiens emerged only about 200,000 years ago and that their origin lay in East Africa. But this discovery not only pushed the timeline of our evolution back by 100,000 years, it also completely reshaped the map of human origins. North Africa, previously overlooked as a key region in human evolution, suddenly became an archaeological hotspot. More importantly, Jebel Irhoud suggests that Homo sapiens did not arise from a single cradle, but may have emerged from multiple populations across Africa, evolving in parallel exchanging genes, forming modern humans through a complex genetic network rather than a single, straight lineage. What makes the discovery at Jebel Irhoud most haunting is the face of the hominin individuals unearthed. Despite being nearly 300,000 years old, their faces were flat, refined, with low cheekbones and a gentle brow strikingly similar to modern humans. They lacked the rugged features often associated with archaic humans, like thick brow ridges or protruding jaws. It's hard to believe that such a face could belong to a being from the distant prehistoric past. Looking at the skull, we don't see a primitive caveman, but rather someone who could easily walk past us on a city street today. That resemblance sends a shiver down the spine, a reminder that evolution doesn't always make its changes obvious. Sometimes evolution happens silently behind a familiar face, within a brain still unfinished. Although their faces appeared strikingly modern, their skulls told a completely different story. Instead of the rounded shape typical of modern humans, their skulls were long and low, resembling those of more archaic species like Homo erectus or Heidelbergensis. This suggests that while their brain volume was nearly equivalent to ours, the internal structure, the way different brain regions were connected, may have remained primitive. Areas responsible for abstract thinking, language, and social cognition were likely not yet fully developed. In other words, on the outside, they might have looked like us, but on the inside, in how they felt, thought, and related to the world, they were still a work-in-progress version of the human being. The contrast between a modern-looking face and an archaic skull at Jebel Irhoud is a vivid example of a phenomenon known as Mosaic evolution, the idea that different parts of the body can evolve at different rates independently and asynchronously. In this case, it seems that the human face evolved earlier, adopting a modern appearance, while the brain, the center of consciousness and cognition, still retained a more primitive form. This kind of evolutionary mismatch is rare, but it reveals a complex transitional phase, a type of human that was no longer entirely primitive, yet not fully modern either. They were a mirror of transformation, standing between two worlds, with one foot still rooted in the past and the other stepping toward the threshold of modern humanity. This hybrid nature raises profound questions. Were they capable of speech? Did they possess culture or art or religion? Could they pass on complex knowledge to their children? The tools found alongside them, Levallois stone points shaped with precision and symmetry, suggest a high level of intelligence and planning. But the real mystery lies in the mind behind those tools. What did they think? How did they see the world? Did they know they were becoming something new? Jebel Irhoud reveals more than just fossilized bones and tools. It also holds clear evidence of fire traces, of ash, charred bones, and ancient hearths. This suggests that the hominins here were not only hunting large prey, but also knew how to control fire for cooking, a major leap in cognitive evolution. Fire use was not merely a survival skill, it was the foundation of social bonding. Fire brought warmth, light, and most importantly, shared meals, spaces where words may have been exchanged, where the first stories could have taken form. One can easily imagine them gathered under the Moroccan stars, around the glow of a red-orange flame, whispering fragments of memory, the earliest seeds of human myth. But why the giant? The term may seem misleading at first glance. These individuals were not literal giants in size, though their brow ridges and cranial proportions are more robust than in modern humans. But they were giants in evolutionary significance. Their discovery towers over previous narratives, forcing a re-examination of our understanding of what it means to be human. In many ways, they are a metaphorical giant, standing at the crossroads of ancient and modern, at the frontier of consciousness and identity. Their presence in North Africa also forces us to broaden our geographic imagination. For too long, the origin of Homo sapiens has been confined to a narrow view centered in East Africa. Jebel Irhoud challenges that linear model. It implies a web of populations across the African continent, exchanging genes, migrating, adapting, forming a complex network from which modern humans eventually emerged. This networked model of human evolution is far richer and more inclusive than a simple tree. It acknowledges the contributions of forgotten branches, the giants whose faces echo ours, but whose minds are forever just out of reach. The story of Jebel Irhoud is not only about ancient bones and rock layers. It's a reminder that our humanity was forged not in a single moment, but across millennia of incremental change. That the boundary between us and them is not a line, but a gradient. That somewhere in the vastness of prehistory, there lived people who were almost us, close enough to spark a shiver of recognition, distant enough to remain a mystery. And in that liminal space between past and present, the hybrid hominin of Jebel Irhoud still gazes back through time, inviting us to question what makes us human. In the heart of East Africa, where the dusty plains of Tanzania have yielded some of the oldest human-like footprints ever discovered, a shadowy legend continues to stir imaginations online. It's the kind of story that spreads like wildfire, dramatic, mysterious, and seemingly too real to ignore. They call it the Petrified Man of Litoli, a fully fossilized human body, frozen in time, encased in ancient volcanic rock, supposedly dated to nearly 3.6 million years ago. A discovery, if true, that would shake the entire foundation of human evolution. But here's the catch. No scientific institution has ever confirmed it. No peer-reviewed paper has described it. No museum displays it. It doesn't even appear in any official excavation record. So, where did this story come from? Is it a suppressed truth, or just another internet myth built on the ruins of real science? Let's unravel the legend and look at why experts say this petrified man likely never existed at all. What do you think? Is this a cover-up, or just clever fiction that got out of hand? Could there be something hidden beneath Litoli that science missed, or is this just another internet myth blending fact and fantasy? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear whether you believe in the legend or in the evidence. As of now, no archaeological institution, be it world-renowned research centers like the Smithsonian Institution, the National Geographic Society, or excavation teams directly involved at Litoli, has ever published any discovery relating to a completely petrified human body in the area. Verified scientific data on Laetoli focuses on a truly extraordinary and well-documented discovery, the fossilized footprints of bipedal creatures dating back roughly 3.6 million years. These footprints were discovered in 1978 by the renowned paleoanthropologist Mary Leakey, and they are attributed to Australopithecus afarensis, an early hominin species considered a distant ancestor of modern humans. However, there is absolutely no record of a full human fossil at the site, let alone a body completely petrified in basalt, as some fringe sources have claimed. Extensive searches in academic databases such as Google Scholar, JSTOR Science Direct, and major scientific journals like Nature Science and the Journal of Human Evolution turn up zero research papers referencing the petrified man of Laetoli. This has led serious scholars to conclude that the story is an internet-born myth, a fabrication blending real events like the Laetoli footprints with completely unfounded speculation. One of the biggest sources of confusion is how many websites and YouTube channels conflate the real Laetoli footprints with the fictional idea that someone left them and was subsequently buried and petrified in volcanic ash. Some theories even describe vivid imagery, a body lying face down in hardened lava arms outstretched as if crawling away from disaster. But these are purely imagined scenarios with no archaeological evidence to back them up. The Laetoli footprints are real, but they are not accompanied by any body, human or animal. This crucial detail is often ignored or intentionally distorted to create a more mysterious narrative. A frequent and misleading comparison is drawn with Pompeii in Italy, where volcanic ash did indeed preserve the forms of human bodies. But Laetoli's volcanic ash hardened quickly and only preserved surface-level imprints. It did not bury or preserve entire human forms. Thus, any theory involving a petrified human body does not align with the geological conditions of Laetoli. A fundamental rule in science is no evidence, no conclusion. In the case of the petrified man of Laetoli, all references stem from obscure websites lacking citations, and more importantly, offering no photographs, archaeological footage, or fossil samples as proof. Even blogs or videos that claim a petrified human was found fail to name the archaeologist involved, specify the discovery site, confirm the date, or outline any analytical methodology. These are the basic requirements for any scientific discovery to be considered legitimate. The complete absence of these elements strongly suggests that the story is a fabrication or embellishment born out of imagination. The story of the petrified man of Laetoli is a textbook case of pseudoscience, where information is presented as if it were scientific, using terms like volcanic ash fossil and 3.6 million years, yet lacking any actual scientific process, peer review, or verifiable data. In an age where anyone can publish online content, such tales spread rapidly, convincing many and becoming alternative truths in the public mind. This is why the scientific community consistently urges the public check the origin data and credibility of any claim that seems sensational or suppressed. Another possibility is that the petrified man of Laetoli arose from a misunderstanding or conflation with legitimate human fossils discovered at Olduvai Gorge or Kubifora sites that have yielded important remains of Homo habilis and Homo erectus. Unlike Laetoli, those sites have detailed excavation records, human fossils, and rigorous scientific analysis. Confusing real archaeological data from one site with an unverified myth at another is a common tactic used in pseudo-documentaries or speculative storytelling. Some people say, if there's no information, it means someone is hiding something. But in science, absence of evidence should not be mistaken for a cover-up. it is more often a clear indication that the event simply never occurred. The petrified man of Laetoli appears in no official records, has not been published by any expert, and lacks any concrete archaeological evidence. It's a compelling tale, but it belongs in the realm of modern folklore, not empirical archaeology. Somewhere beneath the Andes, a secret sleeps, a colossal network of tunnels carved into the very bones of South America may be hiding something that could rewrite history, spanning from the misty mountains of Ecuador, winding through the sacred highlands of Peru, and disappearing into the deep green abyss of the Brazilian Amazon. This rumored subterranean labyrinth has haunted the edges of archaeology and legend for generations. It's not just the tunnels themselves that spark obsession. It's the chilling possibility that deep within them lies a lost vault of metal books, ancient knowledge engraved in a language no one can read. A forgotten library sealed in stone, untouched by time and waiting. What do you think could be hidden deep within these tunnels? A lost civilization, forbidden knowledge, or just nature playing tricks on our imagination? Let us know your theory in the comments below. We read every single one. Originating from the towering Andes Mountains in Ecuador, near the legendary site of Cueva de los Tallos, a mysterious tunnel system is believed to run deep beneath the heart of South America. According to unofficial reports and local legends, this network stretches from Ecuador, cuts through the highlands of Peru, and may extend into the western Amazon region of Brazil, possibly even reaching as far as Bolivia. Some alternative researchers believe it could be a vast transcontinental underground construction, an ancient highway built for purposes we still don't fully understand. Descriptions often emphasize that the tunnels feature perfectly flat walls and square corridors, as if carved using advanced machinery. In some sections, the ceilings are tall enough for a grown adult to stand upright, walk comfortably, and even turn around with ease. No signs of fire torches or soot have been found, only a deep, absolute darkness, as if time itself had come to a halt. Many believe that this place once witnessed highly significant activities, but now only an eerie silence remains waiting to be deciphered. Among the most compelling aspects of this mystery are the rumors that deep within the tunnels lie vaults filled with metal books, ancient records, written in unknown languages, stored away by either an early Earth civilization or something not of this world. This story came to public attention through the controversial figure, Father Carlo Crespi, a missionary in Qenqo, Ecuador, who claimed to have been given dozens of metal plates with strange engravings by local Shuar people. These plates bore symbols and characters unlike any known South American script, some resembling Sumerian cuneiform, others more akin to Egyptian hieroglyphs. Crespi never ventured into the tunnels himself, but he believed that the artifacts he received originated from a secret underground library hidden deep within the Andes. He stored these items in a private museum, much of which was later destroyed in a mysterious fire. The few remaining items were confiscated, lost, or sold, but photographs and testimonies persist. The connection to Cueva de los Tallos is critical. In 1976, a multidisciplinary expedition involving astronauts like Neil Armstrong, geologists, and researchers ventured deep into this cavern system in Ecuador. Their official purpose was geological and biological research. However, rumors suggest the real goal was to locate the fabled metal library that Father Crespi and others had referenced. Inside the cave, explorers found strangely geometric structures, right angles in places that should not occur naturally, and wide halls that resembled human architecture. However, no official discovery of metal books was ever reported, leading to widespread theories of government cover-ups, hidden knowledge, or simply that the right chamber was never found. Erik von Däniken, a prominent ancient astronaut theorist, claimed the tunnels held not only records, but technology left behind by extraterrestrial beings or an advanced pre-human race. Skeptics dismiss this as fantasy, but the passion around the theory refuses to die, fueled by photographs, testimonies, and the lingering mystery of the Crespi collection. The act of burying knowledge underground is not uncommon in human history, and the Andes region seems to be no exception. From the story of the Library of Alexandria, with its rumored backup scrolls hidden in secret vaults, to theories about prehistoric civilizations building underground repositories of wisdom, a fundamental question arises: why would anyone choose to hide such valuable knowledge? Some believe that the creators of the ancient tunnel system in the Andes foresaw a global catastrophe, perhaps an astronomical event, a great flood, or the collapse of a civilization, and chose to preserve essential knowledge about the cosmos, medicine, time, and history, safeguarding it for future generations. However, there's an opposing view. These tunnels were not just storage spaces, but barriers designed to protect the world from what lies within. It's possible that this knowledge was too dangerous, too powerful, and if it fell into the wrong hands, it could bring about destruction. So rather than spreading it, they chose to seal it in stone, bury it in darkness and time, leaving it only for those truly worthy to uncover. Descriptions of the artifacts from the tunnels often include symbols that don't match any indigenous writing system of the Andes. Some seem mathematically coded. Others resemble astronomical charts. A few align with sacred geometries that show up in Mesopotamian or ancient Egyptian artifacts, prompting wild theories about global pre-Diluvian civilizations or alien influence. The supposed metal books were described as being made of a gold-like alloy, resistant to corrosion, and so thin they could flex but not break. If true, the metallurgical knowledge alone would defy our understanding of ancient South American capabilities. Despite countless rumors and scattered pieces of evidence circulated over the decades, the tunnel network beneath the Andes remains an unsolved mystery. The first major obstacle lies in the harsh terrain, an environment. Most of the areas believed to contain the tunnels are located in remote mountainous jungle regions, often subjected to extreme weather and lacking infrastructure for access. Additionally, many independent researchers believe that some expeditions may have uncovered clues, but the information was suppressed or confiscated, possibly due to political, religious, or national security reasons. Another major challenge stems from the spiritual beliefs of indigenous communities, many of whom view the tunnels as sacred spaces, dwelling places of ancestors or spirits, and therefore refuse to reveal their locations to outsiders. Finally, mainstream archaeology tends to avoid fringe subjects, making it nearly impossible to obtain funding or institutional support to explore this enigma in any official capacity. If this tunnel network truly exists and houses undiscovered ancient records, technologies, or treasures, it would be one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in human history. Not only would it rewrite our understanding of pre-Columbian civilizations, it might even challenge the timeline of human advancement itself. The tantalizing question remains: are we looking at the forgotten library of a lost civilization, or chasing shadows carved by nature and myth? Buried beneath the bustling streets of modern-day Mexico City lies one of the most haunting relics of the Aztec civilization, a real-life skull tower built from hundreds of human skulls bound together with mortar and stone, standing beside the sacred Templo Mayor, the most revered temple of ancient Tenochtitlan. For centuries, historians believed that Spanish conquistadors had exaggerated tales of walls made of human skulls. But archaeological discoveries in 2015 and the years that followed confirmed what was once thought to be myth. The legend was real. What would you feel if you were standing in front of a real-life skull tower built over 500 years ago? Do you see it as an act of brutality, a sacred symbol, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. This structure, named Huitzilopochtli, meaning the Great Skull Rack, was a cylindrical tower composed of over 600 human skulls symmetrically arranged and layered like bricks. What makes it truly extraordinary is that the skulls were not simply displayed on wooden racks as in many other Tzompantli structures, but rather permanently embedded into the architecture using a mix of lime mortar and stone, forming a solid and chilling monument. More than just a display of military might or a warning to enemies, this tower served as a sacred religious symbol honoring the gods, particularly the sun god Huitzilopochtli, who was believed to require human blood to continue his daily journey across the sky. Contrary to the common belief that most of the victims were captured warriors, modern anthropological studies revealed that many of the skulls belonged to women and children, opening a more complex discussion about the true scope and intent of these sacrificial rituals. The skulls had been cleaned, both ends flattened and pierced through the sides, indicating that the process followed a detailed and ritualistic procedure repeated across generations. The layers of mortar between the skulls also suggest that the tower was gradually added to over time, possibly reflecting peaks in sacrificial activity or major religious ceremonies. Huitzilopochtli is not only a testament to blood-soaked rituals, but also an architectural marvel unlike anything else in the world, a place where human bones became building material and death itself was etched into the memory of a civilization using the human form. From a scholarly perspective, this represents a rare convergence of architecture, religion, and social structure, directly reflecting the Aztec belief system in life, death, and cosmic balance. Huitzilopochtli raises chilling questions. Where is the line between faith and violence? Between sacred ritual and cruelty? To the Aztecs, these skulls may have symbolized divine offerings considered sacred nourishment needed to maintain cosmic harmony. To us today, Huitzilopochtli stands as a vivid, unsettling relic, both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a reminder that history is never simple and that faith can manifest in ways far removed from modern sensibilities. On a quiet afternoon in February 1961, 3 amateur rock hunters were combing the arid hills of Coso, California, searching for quartz crystals. Nothing out of the ordinary. But fate had other plans. They picked up what seemed like just another dusty stone, dense, oddly heavy, and unusually hard. Curious, they brought it back and sliced it open with a diamond saw. What they found inside defied every expectation, every logic, and every textbook explanation. Encased within the stone was something that looked exactly like a spark plug, a piece of modern machinery sealed inside what appeared to be ancient rock. But what do you think? Is this just a strange coincidence? A modern spark plug somehow encased in stone? Or could it be evidence of something far older and far more mysterious? Drop your theories in the comments below. We want to hear what you think happened here. This is the part that has puzzled both scientists and the public the most. According to preliminary analysis at the time, the surrounding rock might have formed hundreds of thousands of years ago. That would mean that a mechanical component, a product of the 19th century or later, was sealed inside ancient rock as if it had existed in prehistoric times. The structure of the object only adds to the mystery, a central metal shaft surrounded by a ceramic layer and encased in a corroded metal shell, extremely similar to a modern spark plug. If it truly is a spark plug, then it would have had to be embedded in the rock long before humans even invented internal combustion engines. So, how could this be possible? Could there have been an advanced technological civilization hundreds of thousands of years ago, or was the object somehow dropped into the past in a way we don't yet understand? Some geologists argue that the rock around the object isn't actually ancient, but instead the result of a rapid mineralization process called concretion. Under certain conditions, soil and minerals can encase a metallic object in just a few decades, forming a hard shell. However, this theory still doesn't explain why the outer layer was so hard that it required a diamond saw to cut. Furthermore, no independent verification of the artifact has been possible because the object is no longer available for public examination. The Qenqo artifact is often classified as an U-part out-of-place artifact, objects that appear in the wrong time or context, challenging our current understanding of history. Supporters of this theory suggest that there may have once been a highly advanced civilization predating our own. Others go even further, proposing that this might be indirect evidence of time travel or extraterrestrial intervention. What's even more suspicious is that the Qenqo artifact has vanished. There is no official sample available, no peer-reviewed scientific papers, and even the original reports are no longer publicly accessible. Some believe the artifact was deliberately hidden to avoid controversy. Others suspect it might have been an elaborate hoax from the beginning. Whether you believe the Qenqo artifact is a hoax or evidence of an unwritten chapter of history, it serves as a powerful reminder: science does not yet have all the answers. Just as the ocean still holds unexplored regions, the past may contain mysteries that mainstream history has yet to acknowledge. In the heart of New Hampshire, near the serene Lake Winnipesaukee, a small object shrouded in mystery has baffled archaeologists for over a century: the Lake Winnipesaukee Mystery Stone. Discovered by chance in 1872, this oval-shaped stone captivates not only with its smooth, polished surface, but also with its strange engravings and an origin that remains completely unknown. Drop your theories in the comments below. Let's see what you think. The stone was found when two workers were digging a hole for a fence post near Lake Winnipesaukee. It was buried deep in the ground, encased in dense clay, suggesting that it had been intentionally placed there long before European settlers arrived in the region. As soon as it was unearthed, the stone raised a crucial question: who made it, and for what purpose? Researchers attempted to trace cultural links, but no indigenous culture in the northeastern United States is known to have produced anything like it, either in terms of technique or symbolism. The engravings, concentric circles, arrows, a face spiral motifs do not match any known symbolic system of Native American tribes or prehistoric cultures in the region. The stone's precision carvings, symmetrical design, and drilled holes have made the theory that local tribes created it highly implausible. There is no archaeological evidence of any community in the area that lived with or used such objects. All signs of origin have vanished, as if the maker of the stone never existed in any recorded history. The stone has an oval shape, a smooth surface, and is made of quartzite, an extremely hard material difficult to shape using primitive tools. Its surface features intricate symmetrical carvings that resemble modern craftsmanship. The most astonishing detail is the presence of two perfectly aligned holes with spiral drill marks consistent with the use of high-speed rotary tools. This far surpasses the technical capabilities of any indigenous group known to exist before the 19th century. To this day, the stone does not align with any known cultural, archaeological, or linguistic system in the United States. It seems to be an out-of-place artifact, a relic that exists without context. Some have speculated that it could be a ritual object, an ancient astronomical tool, or even a type of artistic artifact, never documented in history. Due to the overwhelming ambiguity, many theories have emerged. Some suggest it was crafted by a lost civilization long vanished from the Earth. Others argue it might be a 19th century hoax created by a skilled Victorian-era artisan to deceive archaeologists. However, modern testing has largely ruled this out. The wear patterns, material structure, and manufacturing technique do not match the 19th century and instead appear to be much older, possibly hundreds or even thousands of years. Today, the stone is on display at the New Hampshire Historical Society Museum, standing as one of the most controversial artifacts in the United States. There's no label confirming its age, no clear explanation of its purpose. It simply sits there silent, like a challenge to both science and history. Is the Lake Winnipesaukee Mystery Stone the last surviving relic of a forgotten prehistoric civilization, or is it merely an object that lost its context in time? Until new evidence emerges, it remains one of America's greatest archaeological enigmas. No one knows who made it when or why. At Wupatki National Monument in northern Arizona, amidst the arid desert and ancient red brick ruins, archaeologists discovered one of the oldest and most puzzling mysteries of Native American culture, petroglyphs depicting human footprints with 6 toes. Unlike typical carvings that show 5-toed feet, these 6-toed prints appear prominently on certain rock faces, raising many unanswered questions about ancient worldviews and spiritual beliefs. What do you think about the 6-toed footprints carved into the rocks at Wupatki? Could they be symbols of a sacred belief or evidence of a real group of people with a rare genetic trait in the distant past? Share your thoughts in the comments below. These petroglyphs are believed to have been created by the ancestral Puebloans who lived in the area between the 11th and 13th centuries. In many ancient cultures, feet symbolize movement, ritual, or supernatural power. Carving 6-toed footprints, a rare genetic trait, suggests these were not ordinary depictions of people, but symbols representing exceptional individuals, possibly shamans, spiritual leaders, or beings with divine qualities. Archaeological studies in nearby regions like Chaco Canyon have uncovered human remains with 6 fingers or toes, reinforcing the theory that 6 digits may have been a real physical trait, not just a symbolic one. Individuals with this feature may have been revered, perhaps even considered chosen ones, in religious or ceremonial contexts. What's most astonishing is that the 6-toed symbol isn't unique to the Americas. Similar depictions appear across many ancient civilizations worldwide, from Mayan and Incan mythology to ancient Egyptian murals and the carvings on Easter Island. 6-fingered or 6-toed figures are often associated with deities, special powers, or intervention from other realms. In Mayan and Incan traditions, 6-digit beings were sometimes seen as healers, prophets, or gods. In Egypt, 6-fingered hands carved on tomb walls symbolize someone chosen by the gods. On Easter Island, similar motifs are tied to religious authority and sacred power. Could these signs share a common cultural root, or do they point to an ancient global symbol where the number 6 represents metaphysics, cosmic energy, or intelligence beyond human limits? At Wupatki, the 6-toed footprints still remain quietly etched into stone like a forgotten puzzle piece of history. They defy modern explanations and suggest the possibility that a unique group of people once existed, or that there was a shared spiritual belief system spanning ancient continents. While no final answer exists yet, Each six-toed step, carved into rock, seems to whisper the same message. There is still so much about the past that humanity does not truly understand. Among the most mysterious ancient structures in Asia, Japan's Kofun keyhole tombs stand out as one of history's great enigmas, not only for their age, but for their astonishing geometric design, the giant keyhole shape. From ground level, they appear as grassy mounds nestled among farmlands or even within modern urban settings. But with an aerial view, whether by satellite or aircraft, the full wonder is revealed. These burial mounds take on the exact shape of an ancient keyhole, with a circular front and a long rectangular tail. This is no coincidence. It is the result of a deliberate ceremonial design deeply tied to the power structures and spiritual beliefs of Japan's Yamato period, 3rd to 6th centuries CE. But here's the question. Why do you think these tombs were designed in such a perfect keyhole shape, only visible from the sky? Was it purely spiritual, a display of power, or could it be something more mysterious? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're curious to hear your theory. There is no other place on Earth with burial structures quite like these. Even the Egyptian pyramids or the temples of the Maya cannot compare in terms of geometric distinctiveness. Some tombs stretch over 400 meters in length, such as the Daisen Kofun in Osaka, believed to be the final resting place of Emperor Nintoku. With its massive scale, Daisen Kofun is not merely a tomb. It resembles a buried miniature city shaped like a keyhole, surrounded by 3 concentric moats, as if completely separated from the human world. Even more astonishing is that many kofun are hidden beneath trees or located among neighborhoods, yet from above they appear flawlessly symmetrical, as though designed to send a message to the sky. Some theories suggest the ancient Yamato people saw these tombs as gateways between the living and the spiritual realm. Others go even further, speculating that the shapes may have been signals to extraterrestrial beings, as there is no practical reason to construct such elaborate forms for burial alone. Beyond their unique form, the kofun also symbolized absolute power. These monumental tombs were reserved exclusively for the highest elite kings, princes, and noble lords. Constructing just one such tomb is estimated to have required tens of thousands of laborers working over many years. Around the tombs were placed Haniwa clay figures depicting people, animals, and warriors, not merely decorative, but spiritually protective, creating a sacred and surreal atmosphere. What deepens the mystery is that these tombs are strictly off-limits to excavation. The Imperial Household Agency of Japan tightly controls access and has denied all archaeological requests, even from domestic scholars. This raises countless questions. What lies inside these enormous keyholes? Could they hold vital clues to ancient Japanese history, or secrets too sensitive to reveal? With all these extraordinary features, the Kofun keyhole tombs are far more than burial structures. They are unwritten declarations of an ancient civilization, one that sought to etch its power and legacy into the very sky above. Beneath Lake Michigan, one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world, lies a strange mystery that archaeologists have yet to fully explain. The Lake Michigan Stone Circle, often called America's underwater Stonehenge. This site was discovered by complete accident in 2007 when an underwater archaeology team led by Dr. Mark Holley was using sonar to search the lakebed for shipwrecks. Instead of debris, they found a large grouping of stones arranged in a circular pattern about 12 meters underwater, something highly unusual in a natural environment. But what do you think? Could these stones have been arranged by ancient humans? Or is it just a strange gift from nature? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory. These stones each weigh several hundred kilograms and form a circle. The unusual alignment immediately reminded observers of the famous Stonehenge in England, raising a big question. Could this be a man-made structure from prehistoric times, or is it merely a geological coincidence? What shocked researchers even more was a faint carving on one of the stones that appears to resemble a woolly mammoth. These giant creatures once roamed North America during the Ice Age, but went extinct thousands of years ago. If the carving truly is man-made, the structure could be over 10,000 years old, far older than any known stone monument in this part of North America. However, the biggest issue, and the source of the most intense debate, is that the origin of the structure has never been definitively verified. The stone circle lies deep underwater in a low-visibility, hard-to-reach environment, making traditional excavation or close analysis nearly impossible. Some geologists argue the circle is simply a natural geological formation, possibly caused by glacial activity or tectonic movement. Others, especially those who support the idea of lost ancient civilizations, believe it could be the remains of a ritual site created by a prehistoric people who once lived around the Great Lakes region. Even the supposed mammoth carving has divided opinion. While some see it as intentional artwork, many scientists warn that it might just be a case of pareidolia, the human tendency to see familiar shapes like animals or faces in random natural patterns such as cracks or scratches. To this day, the Lake Michigan Stone Circle remains one of the most mysterious and unresolved archaeological finds in North America. There is no solid evidence to confirm it was made by humans, but also no way to fully dismiss that possibility. That's why this submerged formation continues to inspire endless speculation about forgotten histories and civilizations that may have once existed, then vanished without a trace. This mystery is still waiting to be solved if humanity has the patience and technology to one day return to the depths of Lake Michigan. Perhaps thousands of years ago, rituals were performed there, or communities once lived whose stories we've yet to uncover. The Lake Michigan Stone Circle is not just a question for archaeology, it's a reminder that many pieces of our past remain hidden, waiting to be rediscovered. In the remote mountainous region of Mpimlozi, near the border of South Africa and Eswatini, lies a phenomenon that has stunned both scientists and believers in ancient legends: a giant footprint embedded in solid granite rock, measuring around 1.2 meters, nearly 4 feet in length. Roughly the size of a footprint left by an 8-meter-tall, 26-foot being. This impression, known as the giant footprint of South Africa or the footprint of God, remains one of the most puzzling and unresolved mysteries tied to the history of Earth and humankind. What do you think about this giant footprint? Is it just a bizarre trick of nature, or could it be evidence of a being beyond modern science? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what theory you believe in. What makes it truly extraordinary is not just the immense size, but the surface upon which it rests, a slab of ancient granite, a type of rock formed deep within the Earth's crust, known for its exceptional hardness. Yet this footprint, almost perfectly shaped like a human left foot, appears on a material that should be virtually impossible to deform. Some researchers estimate the rock to be hundreds of millions to even 3 billion years old, predating even the age of the dinosaurs. But the greatest puzzle, and the source of the fiercest debate, is this: was this footprint formed by natural forces, or was it intentionally created? Mainstream geologists tend to believe it's simply a product of millions of years of erosion, fracturing, and weathering that coincidentally resulted in a shape resembling a human foot. From this perspective, the alignment of toe-like features and overall proportions are chalked up to nature's random artistry. However, the natural formation theory struggles to answer a few pressing questions. Why does the shape appear so proportionally correct? How has the footprint remained so intact after millions of years of erosion? And if it's the result of cracks or natural splits, why is there only one footprint with no other signs nearby? On the other end of the spectrum, fringe researchers, alternative archaeologists, and ancient civilization theorists suggest that this may be the relic of an unknown ancient culture, or even physical evidence of real-life giants beings described across countless myths, religious texts, and traditional folklore worldwide. They argue that no known geological process can produce a footprint that has symmetrical structure, shows a precise human-like form, appears alone on a barren mountainside without any matching traces nearby. Some even go as far as suggesting it could be the imprint of a supernatural being that once walked the earth, a theory that, while controversial, continues to gain millions of views across YouTube and mysterious forums. Between the scientific lens and the mystical imagination lies the uncomfortable truth. The giant footprint of South Africa has become a symbol of the boundary between what we know and what we can't explain. Whether it's a remnant from a chaotic ancient Earth or a message left behind by a forgotten civilization, it remains there, silent, enduring, and still defying all rational explanations. Perhaps the most terrifying thing is not that we haven't solved the mystery, but rather we have no idea what we're standing next to. In 1889, during the drilling of a well near Nampa, Idaho, USA, workers retrieved a tiny human-shaped figurine from nearly 100 meters underground. Made of baked clay and standing only 3.8 centimeters tall, this artifact stunned researchers. It quickly became a mystery. How could something man-made appear in a soil layer dated between 2 and 15 million years old? What do you think about this strange discovery? Could this tiny figurine be evidence of a forgotten civilization, a flaw in archaeological method, or something far beyond our current understanding? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. What truly set the Nampa figurine apart was not just its unlikely depth, but its astonishing craftsmanship. The figure depicts a female human form with distinct facial features, arms, legs, and clearly sculpted breasts. Even more intriguing, fine etched lines on the torso suggest clothing or decorative patterns, something no natural process could replicate. The figurine shows remarkable symmetry and anatomical accuracy, indicating knowledge of human form and artistic intent. There's no sign of distortion from natural forces like pressure or erosion. Instead, it appears deliberately molded by human hands, much like known artifacts from civilizations thousands of years old. And yet, it came from a layer millions of years older than humanity itself. From a scientific perspective, Homo sapiens only emerged around 300,000 years ago. Civilizations with the skill to create detailed figurines arose far later. If the dating of the soil is correct, the figurine should not exist. It becomes a direct contradiction to the accepted evolutionary timeline. Skeptics suggest the artifact may have been accidentally dropped during drilling or is a hoax, but period records describe a sealed drilling system, making surface contamination highly unlikely. The figurine was found immediately after reaching the deep layer, leaving little chance for error. This has led many to label the Nampa figurine an archaeological paradox. Some believe it hints at forgotten prehistoric civilizations. Others even suggest extraterrestrial influence. Regardless of theory, its high level of detail and impossible age continue to challenge conventional thinking. To this day, the Nampa figurine remains one of the most puzzling finds in North American archaeology, a tiny object that defies time, hinting at a history far older and far stranger than we've ever imagined. In 1974, near the Mureș River, in the town of Irhoud, Romania, a group of workers accidentally uncovered 3 objects buried deep in the ground: 2 fossilized bones believed to be from a prehistoric elephant or mastodon, and a strange wedge-shaped metallic object. At first glance, the metal appeared to be nothing more than a rusty piece of scrap. But upon analysis, it shocked the scientific community. What do you think about this strange discovery? Was it just a coincidence? A modern piece of metal accidentally buried through time, or could it be evidence of a forgotten civilization? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. What makes the wedge of Irhoud so mysterious lies in its composition. Scientific analysis revealed that the object is made of 89% pure aluminum, along with traces of copper, zinc, lead, cadmium, and nickel, forming a complex aluminum alloy, remarkably similar to materials used in modern aerospace industries. The issue is pure aluminum doesn't occur naturally, and humanity only learned to extract it at the end of the 19th century through electrolysis technology. So how could such a sophisticated alloy object appear in a layer of soil that also contains fossils believed to be hundreds of thousands of years old? This paradox has led many to ask, could this be the product of an advanced civilization long lost to history, or perhaps even something not from Earth at all? Not only is the material composition controversial, but the object's shape is also highly unusual. It resembles a mechanical component with beveled edges, bolt holes, and a surface that appears to have undergone corrosion as if it had once been part of an industrial machine. Some experts have noted its striking resemblance to the landing gear of a plane or spacecraft, while proponents of ancient alien theories believe it might be a fragment of extraterrestrial technology. After decades, no official explanation has been confirmed. Theories range from modern machinery accidentally buried in ancient soil to genuine alien artifact, but all remain speculative. More suspiciously, the object is not publicly displayed in any museum, and the Romanian authorities have released little to no clear information, deepening public skepticism and suspicions of possible concealment. If the wedge of Irhoud was truly manufactured in prehistoric times, it would represent a major shock to our understanding of technological history. It directly contradicts what we know about ancient metallurgy. This object stands as an anomaly in the timeline of human civilization, forcing us to ask, could there have once been forgotten civilizations with technological capabilities far beyond what we've imagined? The Bactria Margiana civilization BMAC, also known as the Oxus civilization, was one of the most enigmatic and unexpectedly advanced cultures of the Bronze Age. It flourished between 2300 and 1700 BCE, nestled in what is now the arid heartland of Turkmenistan, northern Afghanistan, and parts of Uzbekistan. But what truly sets BMAC apart from other ancient civilizations is not just its accomplishments, it is the paradox of its very existence. How could a complex, urbanized, and artistically sophisticated culture arise and thrive in one of the most inhospitable landscapes in Central Asia? What do you think? How could such a complex civilization rise in a place with no great rivers, no fertile valleys, just desert and dust? Was it pure ingenuity, unknown technology, or something we still don't understand today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theories. This region, part of the Karakum Desert and Central Asian steppe, is characterized by blistering heat, erratic rainfall, and vast stretches of uninhabitable sand. Unlike the fertile valleys of the Nile, Tigris-Euphrates, or Indus-Bmak, had no major river system to support sustained agriculture or dense settlement. And yet the people of Bactria and Margiana not only survived, they built cities. The key to survival lay in their extraordinary water management. They located underground aquifers and seasonal streams, building complex irrigation canals, reservoirs, and field systems. Around these oases, cities like Ggantija emerged, now considered the best-preserved Bmak site. Excavations revealed city walls, enclosing temples, palaces, workshops, granaries, fire altars, and housing with clearly separated zones for religious, administrative, and residential life. This wasn't a village. It was a centralized, carefully planned capital. Such urban sophistication in a harsh setting implies a high level of social coordination and governance. The ruling elite likely oversaw water distribution, religious rituals, agricultural cycles, and regional trade. Their authority may have stemmed from both spiritual and administrative power, as seen in the city's sacred structures and symbolic layouts. Beyond architecture, Bmak's cultural legacy is stunning. Artisans worked in gold, silver, lapis lazuli, creating jewelry, ceremonial objects, seals, and figurines of remarkable detail. Many pieces feature human-animal hybrids or stylized deities, suggesting a symbolic, possibly mythological worldview. These motifs resemble elements in Zoroastrian and early Vedic iconography, though Bmak predates both by centuries. Despite its complexity, Bmak vanished from human memory. Unlike the pyramids or ziggurats, its cities were buried in sand, lost to time, and even erased from local legends. For over 3 millennia, the world had no idea this civilization existed until the 1970s, when Soviet archaeologists excavated Ggantija, uncovering a lost chapter of human history. What they found challenged old assumptions. Great civilizations don't always need rivers or fertile plains. Bmak proved that urban life could emerge in deserts with creativity, discipline, and deep environmental understanding. Today, its story stands as a testament to human adaptability and resilience, reminding us that beauty, belief, and innovation can flourish even in the harshest landscapes. In the blazing deserts of northern Sudan, where golden dunes stretch endlessly into the horizon, lies one of the most overlooked chapters in ancient history, the temples of Nubia. These ancient sanctuaries, now mostly silent and sun-scorched, were once part of a thriving civilization that rivaled even ancient Egypt. From Napata to Meroe, from the lion-headed war god Apetamak to the lunar goddess Amasemi, Nubian temples were more than mere imitations of Egypt. They were centers of a powerful and unique African identity. Have you ever heard of the ancient temples of Nubia before? Are we forgetting a civilization that deserves to be honored just like ancient Egypt? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Why do you think the world has forgotten such a historical treasure? Unlike the grand monuments of Giza that draw millions each year, Nubia's temples sit mostly forgotten. Some, like the Temple of Soleb or the Lion Temple of Naka, still stand with their stone columns etched with intricate carvings. Others are mere ruins, half buried under layers of shifting sand. These temples told stories of conquest, of divinity, of a kingdom that once ruled over Egypt itself during the 25th dynasty. Yet today, those stories are muffled, their voices lost beneath centuries of wind and silence. The most haunting truth is this: the world forgot them. While Egypt's ancient wonders were excavated, studied, restored, and glorified, many of Sudan's temples were left behind. When the Aswan High Dam was built in the 1960s, UNESCO launched an international campaign to save Egypt's monuments. Temples like Abu Simbel were dismantled and relocated. But many Nubian temples, especially those in Sudanese territory, were abandoned to the rising waters of Lake Nasser, swallowed with barely a whisper. Others, inaccessible and undocumented, still lie beneath the sand, hidden not just from view, but from global memory. Even Sudan's pyramids, numbering over 200 more than all of Egypt's, go largely unnoticed. Smaller in size, but steeped in symbolism, they mark the tombs of Kushite royalty and echo a legacy erased by time and neglect. The temples around them once held rituals, prayers, and coronations. Today, they are visited more by desert winds than by scholars or tourists. These aren't just ruins, they are chapters of African history, buried alive, covered by the literal sands of time and the metaphorical weight of global indifference. For too long, Nubia has lived in the shadow of Egypt. Its temples, gods, and kings deserve more than silence. They deserve to be remembered, because every grain of sand that buries a column or a carved relief is a grain that buries a story that once shaped empires. Hidden beneath the tropical jungles of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula lies a vast and mysterious underground world, the cave and cenote systems of the ancient Maya. These are not merely geological wonders, but gateways into one of the most enigmatic civilizations in human history. These natural sinkholes, known as cenotes, are far more than tranquil pools of water. They are entrances into an immense subterranean labyrinth that stretches for hundreds of kilometers with surreal beauty and immeasurable archaeological value. What would you feel standing at the edge of a cenote, knowing it leads into a hidden world that once connected the Maya to the afterlife? Would you be filled with wonder, fear, or the urge to explore? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what this ancient doorway means to you. Explorers have documented over 6,000 cenotes scattered across the Yucatan, but what has been surveyed so far is only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface lie freshwater tunnels, colossal caverns, and buried passageways that continue to astonish researchers. Systems like Sak Aktun and Oxbel Ha span over 300 kilometers, with complex branches like a maze, sometimes linking dozens of cenotes together. Despite decades of research and cave diving, many parts of this network remain completely untouched by humans. Astonishingly, each newly discovered branch often comes with groundbreaking archaeological or biological finds. Scientists have uncovered fossils of prehistoric animals and even human remains dating back more than 10,000 years, some resting deep within dark, water-filled chambers, accessible only with advanced diving equipment. These findings reveal the migration patterns of early humans and show how the Maya used these caves as sacred spaces for sacrifices, prayers, and spiritual journeys into the afterlife. And yet the greatest mystery still lies ahead. Many cenotes lead to unmapped underground chambers with numerous passages blocked by collapsed limestone or sediment built up over thousands of years. Experts believe that beneath these layers could lie hundreds more kilometers of hidden space containing submerged temples, ritual artifacts, or ancient walkways connecting Maya ceremonial centers. This is a living underground world where every unexplored meter has the potential to rewrite the story of Maya religion, society, and spiritual life. The Maya cenote cave systems are not just natural marvels. They are portals into an unilluminated depth of Maya civilization. And each day, as cave divers descend into the silent darkness below, humanity inches closer to uncovering the secrets buried for thousands of years. Perched high on a towering basalt outcrop in the remote highlands of Yemen. Himjar Rock Fortress, also known as Husn al-Ghurab, is one of the most mysterious ancient strongholds in the Arabian Peninsula. Built entirely from volcanic black basalt and fitted without mortar, this fortress defies both time and explanation. Its location atop a steep cliff offered unmatched visibility and defense, suggesting strategic military value long before modern warfare. What do you think it took to build a fortress like this, perched high on sheer rock with no mortar and built thousands of years ago? Do you believe ancient civilizations possessed forgotten techniques? Or is there something we still don't understand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory. Once part of the powerful Himyarite kingdom, 2nd century BCE, 6th century CE, Himjar may have served as a royal refuge or a control post for the ancient incense route, a trade corridor linking India, Africa, and the Mediterranean. Despite centuries of exposure to harsh desert conditions, many of its walls, stairs, and platforms remain intact, testimony to an advanced, enduring construction technique rarely matched in ancient architecture. Beyond its physical grandeur, what truly sets Himjar apart are the mysteries it still guards. To this day, the site has never undergone a full archaeological excavation. Its exact age remains unknown. Some scholars suspect it may even predate the Himyarites, hinting at the existence of an older, possibly forgotten civilization buried beneath. Unexplored chambers, hidden passages, or ancient artifact vaults may still lie untouched within the structure, awaiting discovery. The rugged terrain, political instability, and limited research access have left much of Himjar in silence. This turns the fortress into a historical lockbox sealed by time and stone. Each basalt block could hold clues to an untold chapter of human history. Adding to its allure are local legends that describe the site as a gateway to the afterlife or an ancient observatory used in lost rituals of cosmic significance. While unverified, these stories deepen the sense of mystery surrounding the fortress. Today, Himjar stands alone. No tourist crowds, no protective barriers, just the wind, the rock, and unanswered questions. And perhaps the greatest mystery is not what we've seen, but what still lies beneath the surface. Has history forgotten Himjar, or is Himjar quietly remembering history for us? On the Nazca Plateau, famous for its giant geoglyphs, only visible from above, a series of bizarre mummies were discovered, stunning the world. These so-called Nazca mummies quickly became one of the most controversial subjects in modern archaeology. But what truly sets them apart and haunts our imagination is their body shape, which resembles no known human species. What do you think these mummies really are? Are they an unknown human species, or something not from this world? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theories. These mummies are so oddly shaped that many have described them as alien-like. They have elongated heads, tapering backward, with large eyes and deep sockets, immediately evoking images of grey aliens from science fiction. Each mummy has only 3 long, slender fingers, and toes, a feature completely unseen in any known human or primate species. Their bodies are just as unusual. They range in height from 20 centimeters to 168 centimeters, with skin dried and hardened like stone. Despite their compact size, they retain clear anatomical structures such as rib skulls and vertebrae. Some specimens are as small as newborn infants, yet possess full reproductive organs and adult-like skeletal structure, deepening the mystery. The Nazca mummy specimens have undergone rigorous scientific analysis, including X-rays, CT scans, and histological examinations. The results revealed no signs of bones being artificially assembled from different species, a common feature in fabricated mummies. Even more astonishing, some samples still contain soft tissue internal organs and even eggs. Given their age of up to several thousand years, such exceptional preservation would be nearly impossible without some advanced technique. Carbon-14 testing revealed that some of the mummies date back 1,000 to 1,700 years, aligning with the height of the Nazca civilization. However, their physical form and skeletal structure do not match any known evolutionary branch of humans or primates, leaving scientists puzzled. Several competing theories have emerged. They could represent a parallel human species that has gone extinct. They might be evidence of extraterrestrial contact with ancient civilizations. Or they could simply be an elaborate hoax, though no clear proof of fabrication has yet been found. Whatever the truth may be, the Nazca mummies remain an unsolved mystery. They force scientists to reconsider what we know about human history. Could there be an unrecorded detour in our evolutionary path? Or are they a testament to the astonishing imagination and preservation techniques of ancient people? When you gaze into those hollow, deep-set eyes and see those strangely long fingers, can you truly say you're looking at a human being? In the vast deserts of Egypt, hundreds of kilometers away from any present-day ocean, lies one of the most bizarre and precious paleontological treasures in the world, Wadi al-Hitan, the Valley of the Whales. This name is no metaphor. Amid scorched sand dunes and dry sandstone ridges, scientists have uncovered hundreds of fossilized skeletons of ancient whales, a scene that seems more like fiction than reality. What do you think? How would you react if you stumbled upon ancient whale bones lying in the middle of a desert? Does it change how you view Earth's past? Or the idea that oceans once covered places we now call deserts? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. Wadi al-Hitan is located within the Fayoum Nature Reserve west of the Nile River. Around 40 to 50 million years ago, this area was not the arid land we see today, but a warm, shallow sea that was part of the ancient Tethys Ocean, teeming with marine life, including the early ancestors of modern whales. What makes Wadi al-Hitan truly exceptional is not just the quantity of fossils, but the type of creatures preserved and the extraordinary level of preservation. Scientists here have discovered nearly complete skeletons of Basilosaurus, a massive ancient whale that grew up to 18 meters long, as well as Dorudon, a smaller species that holds vital clues to whale evolution. One of the most astonishing findings is the presence of tiny hind limb bones in many of the skeleton's remnants of the legs their ancestors once used to walk on land. This is clear biological evidence of the transition from land-dwelling mammals to fully aquatic whales, a groundbreaking moment in evolutionary history. Nowhere else on Earth offers such vivid and compelling proof as Wadi al-Hitan. Wadi al-Hitan preserves not just whales, but also fossils of ancient sharks, sea crocodiles, turtles, and soft-bodied invertebrates, allowing scientists to reconstruct an entire prehistoric marine ecosystem in stunning detail. Some specimens even contain fossilized stomach contents with fish, remains revealing feeding habits and predator-prey dynamics of the time. The sight of massive skeletons curled in golden sand, lying exactly where they died millions of years ago, evokes a feeling that is both surreal and deeply moving. There are no glass cases or museum walls. These fossils lie directly within the wild desert, allowing visitors to walk through time and experience ancient history with their own eyes and footsteps. Because of its immense scientific value, UNESCO declared Wadi al-Hitan a World Heritage Site, calling it an open-air museum of whale evolution. It is more than just a biological archive. It's a storybook of Earth's deep past, of oceans becoming deserts of life, adapting to change, and of the miraculous journey of evolution. Today, Wadi al-Hitan is both a unique ecotourism destination and an international research hub. Here, scientists, educators, and curious visitors alike can discover one of the most captivating chapters in the evolutionary history of life, told not through words, but through the silent bones lying undisturbed in Egypt's ancient desert. Hidden among the peaceful fields of Saxony-Anhalt, Germany, the Göcek Circle is not merely an archaeological site. It is a strange window into a distant past where our ancestors gazed at the sky and built structures that continue to amaze modern scientists. Discovered through aerial photography in 1991, this monument quickly drew attention for its near-perfect circular imprint on the ground, like a prehistoric barcode sent across time. After years of excavation and study, archaeologists dated the Göcek Circle to around 4900 BCE, making it more than 7,000 years old, older than the Egyptian pyramids and even Stonehenge in England. But what do you think? If ancient people over 7,000 years ago could design something this precise without any modern tools, does it change the way you view prehistoric civilizations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. What truly sets Göcek apart is not just its age or size, but its astonishing geometric design. 3 concentric circles, a large outer ditch, a tall wooden palisade, and an inner fence encircling a central open space. But the most surprising feature lies in its 3 gate openings, which are placed with deliberate precision. 2 of these gates align exactly with the sunrise and sunset on the winter solstice December 21st, the shortest day of the year, while the 3rd points due north. Such alignment cannot be a coincidence. It reveals that ancient people had carefully observed, calculated, and constructed with a level of precision rarely attributed to Neolithic farming communities. They didn't just look up at the sky with awe, they understood the movements of celestial bodies and integrated that knowledge into permanent structures on Earth. Many researchers believe that the Göcek Circle functioned as a rudimentary but effective solar observatory used to track seasonal cycles, vital information for early agricultural societies. It likely also served as a ritual center where ancient people conducted ceremonies tied to the sun, death, and rebirth. Indeed, archaeologists found traces of burned human bones at the center of the circle, possible evidence of ancient sacrificial or funerary rites. Thus, Göcek appears not only as a timekeeping device, but as a sacred space where humans connected with the cosmos, their ancestors, and forces beyond understanding. Notably, Göcek does not stand alone. It is one of many Neolithic circular enclosures found across Europe from Germany to Austria, from England to Poland, suggesting the existence of a widespread prehistoric knowledge network where ideas and techniques were exchanged over hundreds of kilometers long before written language emerged. Today, the Göcek Circle has been reconstructed, becoming a unique destination for tourists and history enthusiasts alike. But more importantly, it remains a mystery not fully unraveled. How could ancient communities without telescopes or modern instruments have built a structure that aligns with the sun with a deviation of only a few degrees? That question forces us people of the 21st century to look back on the past with humility and to acknowledge that our ancestors may have known far more than we give them credit for. Off the coast of Yonaguni Island in Japan lies one of the most puzzling underwater discoveries ever made. In 1986, diver Kihachiro Arataki stumbled upon massive stone formations 25 meters beneath the sea. These formations resemble stepped terraces, Platforms and sharp-angled walls, some up to 150 meters long and nearly 27 meters high. Their scale and geometric shapes have led many to ask, is this a natural formation or the remains of a lost structure? What do you think about the underwater structures of Yonaguni? Are they just a strange natural formation or the ruins of a vanished civilization? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know if you're on Team Science or Team Mystery. The scientific community remains divided. Some geologists argue that the shapes result from natural erosion of sandstone over thousands of years. Others, like marine geologist Professor Masaki Kimura, claim they are remnants of an ancient city submerged by seismic activity at the end of the last ice age. The most striking possibility is that Yonaguni represents a prehistoric civilization that predates all known ancient cultures. If the structures are man-made, they could date back to 10,000 BCE or earlier thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt or the temples of Mesopotamia. This timeline defies the traditional understanding of human development, which suggests people of that era were simple hunter-gatherers, not capable of engineering such colossal architecture. Could these ruins be evidence of a forgotten chapter in human history, one in which an advanced society flourished before vanishing beneath the sea? Adding to the mystery are features resembling human-made elements, parallel staircases, straight passageways, and square holes as if carved for support beams. Some divers even report unusual geometric carvings. These details have led some researchers to draw connections to mythical lost continents, like Mu ancient civilizations said to have vanished in cataclysms. Research progress has been slow. Harsh underwater conditions and conflicting academic views make it difficult to reach consensus. While some dismiss Yonaguni as a natural quirk, others continue to explore the possibility that it holds secrets about our forgotten past. What is clear is that Yonaguni challenges the way we think about ancient history. If proven artificial, it may rewrite our understanding of early civilizations. And if not, if it is purely natural, it remains one of the most extraordinary examples of nature's architecture. Either way, the ocean may still be hiding stories we're not ready to believe. Throughout human history, a strange symbol has appeared repeatedly on reliefs, temples, and religious monuments of many ancient civilizations, the image of a handbag. Though referred to by different names like a bucket in Assyrian culture or a divine handheld object in Mesoamerica, the most striking commonality is its remarkable resemblance to a modern-day handbag. And it is precisely this uncanny similarity that has fueled the enduring mystery and fascination surrounding the ancient handbag's motif for decades. What do you think? Do you believe this ancient handbag was a real object, a spiritual symbol, or possibly even a piece of lost technology from an unknown civilization? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory about this fascinating mystery. What's astonishing is that this handbag-like image doesn't appear in just one location. From Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the oldest known religious structure dating back more than 11,000 years, to Sumerian reliefs depicting the Anunnaki gods, and even artwork from the Olmec and Maya civilizations of Central America, all feature a rectangular object with a curved handle on top, resembling the kind of handbag you might find in any modern store today. This repetition raises a major question. Why did completely unrelated civilizations depict such a similar shape in nearly identical ways? Is it merely a coincidence, or does it represent an actual object of great significance that once existed? Some scholars believe it was simply a ritual container, perhaps for holy water seeds or some form of sacred medicine, but proponents of the ancient astronaut theory argue that the handbag was actually a piece of advanced technology, a vessel for energy, a measurement device, or even a portable gadget used by gods from beyond Earth. Regardless of which theory you prefer, the similarity in design, from its overall shape, the handle to its height-to-width ratio, is undeniable. In many depictions, the handbag appears beside the Tree of Life, suggesting it held spiritual or cosmological significance, possibly tied to life itself or ancient wisdom. Sometimes the figure carrying it is a powerful winged being or a bird-headed entity, symbols often associated with divine or otherworldly forces. The handbag then doesn't seem to be just an object, but a symbol perhaps of life power or something we have yet to comprehend. Could it be that our ancestors once saw or even used some kind of extraordinary device so significant that they carved its image in stone for future generations to remember? Or is it a message left behind that we still lack the knowledge to interpret? Whatever the answer may be, the ancient handbag's motif continues to puzzle scholars and captivate the public because its shape just looks too modern to belong to the ancient world. Beneath the peaceful ground of Picardy in northern France lies one of the most astonishing subterranean structures in Europe, Naur's underground city, a true city buried deep underground. This isn't merely a natural cave system or a few makeshift shelters. Naur is a complex labyrinth carved entirely by human hands on a scale that would astonish anyone. What would you feel if you found yourself walking alone through this massive underground city? Would it feel like a safe haven or something much more mysterious? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you imagine Naur's. What makes Naur's truly remarkable is its enormous size and the organized structure resembling a miniature underground town. With over 3 kilometers of tunnels connecting more than 300 chambers, it once had the capacity to shelter nearly 3,000 people during times of war and unrest. Inside, there were all the essentials of a functioning community: living quarters, chapels, storage rooms, livestock pens, ventilation shafts, and even wells. The rooms were carved deep into the region's soft chalk rock, but were carefully designed to prevent collapse, forming a structure both resilient and discreet, perfect for surviving long periods of chaos above. The origins of this underground city are believed to date back to Roman times, when the first stone quarries were excavated. However, it wasn't until the 17th century that locals greatly expanded the system, transforming it into a sanctuary during religious wars and waves of plundering in the Middle Ages. Over the centuries, Naur was forgotten and nearly erased from collective memory until it was rediscovered in 1887 by a local priest, Abbé Danicourt. He spent years excavating and restoring the site, reintroducing the world to a buried city once lost to time. During World War I, Naur once again became a refuge, this time for thousands of Allied soldiers, especially from Australia, Britain, and Canada. These soldiers left behind more than 2,000 inscriptions, names, dates, and personal messages etched into the walls, serving as silent testaments of survival amid the horrors of war. Today, Naur is preserved and open to the public as a living underground museum, a place where visitors can walk through dim corridors, touch the cool limestone walls, and feel the echoes of centuries gone by. Naur is not just a historical site, it is a vivid symbol of human resilience, ingenuity, and adaptability in the face of adversity. A city with no sky, yet one that sustained thousands by turning darkness and silence into shelter and life. The massive rock formation, known as Giant Face Rock, hidden deep within the mountainous forests of Sierra Leone, stands as one of the most mysterious and debated natural phenomena in Africa. What makes this site truly exceptional is the almost perfectly formed human face that appears on a towering cliff, estimated to be around 50 meters tall. From a distance or certain angles, one can clearly distinguish features such as a forehead, eyes, nose, bridge mouth, and chin, all creating the impression of a giant, contemplative human face gazing down at the land for thousands of years. What's particularly striking is that there is no clear evidence that this was carved by human hands. The lines and contours appear natural, with no visible cuts or sculpting marks, leading many to believe that this is either a masterpiece of nature or perhaps an archaeological mystery that has yet to be decoded. What do you think? Was this colossal face truly shaped by nature? Or could it be a remnant of an ancient, forgotten civilization? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theory. Locals regard this site as sacred, closely tied to ancient traditions and legends. Tribes such as the Temne and Limba believe the rock represents the face of God, symbolizing the ancestral spirits who once protected the land. According to oral tradition, the site was used for religious rituals and ceremonies in ancient times. People would come here to pray for good harvests, peace, and divine protection for their community. There are no temples or monuments, just that solemn, mysterious, and awe-inspiring stone face standing as a timeless symbol in the midst of untouched wilderness. Although it has attracted explorers and gone viral in online videos, Giant Face Rock has never undergone official archaeological excavation or been the focus of in-depth scientific studies. Some bold theories suggest it could be the remnant of a lost civilization or evidence of legendary giant beings from ancient lore. Others even wonder if the site might be linked to extraterrestrial involvement, given the strangely symmetrical facial structure, almost like a massive stone mask hidden in the jungle, far too precise to be mere coincidence. Whether explained through science or spirituality, Giant Face Rock remains an unsolved mystery. It evokes comparisons to the Moai statues of Easter Island, the Great Sphinx of Egypt. But the most crucial difference is this: no one knows who created it, or even if anyone ever did, or whether it is simply the accidental masterpiece of nature itself. And that's precisely what makes Giant Face Rock so captivating, a silent yet powerful invitation from the distant past, daring modern humanity to step forward into a journey of discovery.